I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
One prosecutor is out, another is in when it comes to the latest St. Louis County ouster effort. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. The St. Charles Police Department will be announcing a new mental health partnership later this morning. I've got that story coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Plenty of sunshine today, our high 76.
We have Cardinal baseball today. It's a 2:05 start as the Cardinals try to get themselves a series win. They dropped one last night. City won, however. They're starting to pick it up here. They've won back-to-back games. PGA Championship is today. It's all in 15 minutes.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A toast to two superpowers. President Trump raised a glass at a state banquet in Beijing following a closed-door sit-down with President Xi Jinping.
I'd now like to raise a glass and propose a toast to the rich and enduring ties between the American and Chinese people. It's a very special relationship, and I want to thank you again. This has been an amazing period of time. Thank you, President Xi.
He invited Xi to the White House September 24th. The Chinese leader spoke through an interpreter.
The people of China and the United States are both great peoples. Achieving the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and making America great again can go hand in hand.
During their meeting, Xi warned President Trump the two countries could clash over Taiwan if the issue of independence isn't handled properly. The White House says they agreed on the need to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. In Ukraine today, cleanup in Kyiv after overnight drone and missile strikes from Russia. President Zelensky says at least 5 people were killed. Here in the U.S., Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin tells CBS ICE agents will be present at the FIFA World Cup games this summer, but they're not going specifically to arrest non-citizens.
We're not there to go round up mass individuals, but we are always looking for the worst of the worst. We're going to continue to do that.
He isn't ruling out immigrant arrests. We have new census numbers to break down this morning.
From July 2024 to July 2025, the population rose by 1.8 million people, about 0.5%, one of the slowest rates in history, due largely to the immigration crackdown and the plunging birth rate. Mid-sized cities grew faster than large cities where immigrants tend to land. Several small cities near Dallas-Fort Worth saw the fastest population growth. Austin, Texas topped 1 million residents. Raleigh, North Carolina grew to 500,000. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
2 reigning pop stars have just made it into the Library of Congress National Recording Registry. Taylor Swift and Beyonce albums will become part of the collection. So will Weezer, Vince Gill, and a radio broadcast of 1971's Ali Frazier fight.
Sports special on that which the promoters call the fight of the century. Tonight, Muhammad Ali, in just a few moments from now, as a matter of
This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
It is 6:03. We've got sunshine. It's now 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The latest case against the St. Louis County executive moves forward.
A St. Louis County judge signed off on removing the county prosecutor from the case that could push Sam Page out of office. Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith asked to step aside, citing the appearance of conflict in the Quo Warrento referral that the county council center over Dr. Page's alleged work moonlighting as an anesthesiologist. The case now heads to Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, who will be the one to decide whether to ask a court to strip Page of the county executive seat. It comes after the county council ethics committee claims it found evidence Page was paid for the hospital work when he said he wasn't, and when the charter forbade outside work. The county council voted to refer the matter to prosecutors.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries.
Page's response has been that he was not paid and that council members don't understand how to read a medical bill. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The St. Charles Police Department is set to announce a new first-of-its-kind partnership to support their officers after a critical incident.
The department will be partnering with the 1078 Project, a local nonprofit that provides care and resources to officers who have been involved in critical incidents, such as an officer-involved shooting. St. Charles Police Lieutenant Daniel Gibbons says this partnership comes after the 1078 Project assisted their officers last year.
Police department did have a critical incident last May of 2025. And 1078 did assist some of those officers during that time.
He adds the assistance they provide extends to the families as well. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The trial of a Granite City woman accused of killing her boyfriend in September of 2023 has begun. 37-year-old Tara Anderson is alleged to have shot her then boyfriend, 39-year-old Philip Armstrong, from her porch after yelling at him, according to the Granite City Police Department. Police say they found a .45 caliber casing on Anderson's porch along with a .45 caliber handgun in her basement. Her fingerprint was found on the magazine. Anderson faces 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of possessing a firearm with a defaced serial number, and 1 count of unlawful possession of a weapon by a felon.
A possible hantavirus case unrelated to the cruise ship outbreak is being followed in Illinois.
Illinois health officials say the patient is from Winnebago County, up near Rockford, and likely contracted the virus while cleaning a home filled with rodent droppings. It's believed to be the North American strain of hantavirus, which is not spread from person to person like the Andes strain that struck the cruise ship in the Atlantic. Mercy St. Louis infectious disease specialist Dr. Farron Mannion says the key to keeping healthy here is simple.
Avoiding rodents and their excrements would be a key to preventing from getting this disease.
And if you have to be near rodent feces, take special precautions like wearing a mask and even eye covering because the droppings could be blowing around. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A St. Louis economist says while current inflation rates are high, they still aren't comparable to post-COVID rates.
Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, told KMOX's Chris and Amy that the national inflation rate hit almost 4% on Tuesday. While that rate is much higher than it was before the war in Iran, Simons says it's still not close to the post-COVID inflation rates.
We had inflation at one point spike above 9%. It was the most that we had seen since the early 80s.
Simons says this is what consumers should be wary of.
If it does get to 4.5, 5, 5.25, 5, and it stays there for a while, then we've got problems. That's the issue that we suffered from that lasted in the late 70s through the 80s. If it's like back in 21 and 2022, the economy can survive that. It can absorb that.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
This week, we are observing the 1-year anniversary of the devastating tornado that blew through St. Louis, and KMOX is taking you inside the federal response with Senator Josh Hawley. One of his stories starts with a phone call.
I can still remember at one point calling over, talking to the president. He was telling me, Josh, FEMA hasn't sent me over anything yet. I mean, there's nothing in front of me for me to sign. I remember saying to Mr. President, would you sign the relief for Missouri? And he said, you bet, but I don't have it. So I called over to FEMA, and I was like, what is going on?
Tonight at 8 on KMOX, a look back at how the disaster unfolded. Then at 9, more inside stories, the numbers behind the recovery in the city still finding its footing a year later. Our 1 year later tornado special from 8 to 10 tonight on KMOX.
From the KMOX business desk, it's the largest gift in the history of Washington University. $200 million for their newly established School of Public Health. The school will be named the Andrew M. and Jane M. Bursky School of Public Health and is the first of its kind launched since the COVID-19 pandemic.
It is 6:08. We'll take a little break here, and when we come back in 2 minutes, the latest on the roadways and the weather. This is Total Information AM.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10, time for us to check in with Roger Brand. He is keeping his eyes on things, so hopefully your ride is smooth this morning. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a little rough out west, Debbie, on eastbound 44. I mentioned this crash earlier, eastbound 44 east of Gray Summit. It's a little closer to Gray Summit than Pacific, but it is a distance east of there, and from my vantage point, it looks like the right lane's blocked. I can see the crews getting by on the right side now. I see flashing lights stationary. I think it's a police officer there to get you out of that right lane. So just be prepared as you get through the area. Traffic jams as you get around the bend from 100 Washington approaching Gray Summit. So just pay attention because that's a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit when you're coming through there and you get around the bend and all of a sudden traffic's pretty close to a standstill just after that point. Eastbound Highway 30, better than it was, but it's still slow. Gravois Bluffs to 141 overnight paving work. Looks like they got it picked up, so you're in better shape now, but it's still busy. Northbound 55, a little slow, 141 to the Merrimack. North 270, as you ramp on from 55. We had a minor incident there earlier. That ramp's a little slow, and 55, by the way, in the city, approaching Loughborough up through Virginia is off the pace as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A nice day today with a good deal of sunshine, the high 76. Increasing clouds tonight. There can be a thunderstorm late, the low 58. A thunderstorm around tomorrow morning. Then breezy and very warm later tomorrow as clouds break for some sunshine, the high 85. For Saturday, warm and more humid with clouds and limited sun, along with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm as well, the high 80. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg at 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sports in 3 minutes. Currently, it's 48 in Florissant, 47 in St. Peters, clear and 48 downtown at the Arch.
It's 6:12. President Trump is in Beijing for a high-stakes summit with his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. While it's believed there will be a focus on the Iran war, critics think the president is at a disadvantage.
And one of those critics, Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a combat war veteran who also sits on armed services. China has ignored U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil purchases, and reports indicate Beijing provides components to Tehran used in their missiles.
And frankly, all that he's done with this war of choice of his in Iran is made the situation worse for Americans here at home and strengthen the hand of brutal dictators like President Xi of the PRC.
Duckworth tells CNN President Trump likely will not follow through with his threat to impose 50% tariffs on all Chinese products coming into the U.S. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
A bill giving tax credits to downtown St. Louis business passes the Missouri Senate, known as the Missouri Innovation, Public Safety, and Accountability Act. The bill would create innovation zones to spur development downtown. It passed the Senate yesterday on a vote of 25-7. The bill now heads back to the House for a final vote after passing out of that chamber in March.
When it comes to TV, where will the Blues land?
At least 6 NHL teams are in the same boat after FanDuel Sports Network shut down after the first round of the playoffs. 2 broadcast companies are moving aggressively to try to fill that gap. Cincinnati-based Scripps launched a sports division in 2022 and just landed the NBA's Detroit Pistons, who will air all of their local games on free over-the-air TV starting next season. Gray Media, the owner of St. Louis stations KMOV Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest Channel 32, 2 already simulcasts some Blues games and is a logical local partner. Teams are also building their own networks. The Detroit Red Wings of the NHL teamed with baseball's Tigers on an in-house service, and the St. Louis Cardinals moved this year to a streaming model that is produced by Major League Baseball. The Blues have only said that they are working on new partnerships. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The leader of last year's effort to lure an expansion WNBA team to St. Louis says he still thinks Chaffetz Arena would be a great venue for a team.
You know, if you look at the history of St. Louis sports, you know, we've had pro basketball here before. It's thrived. And I think if you show up to Chaffetz, especially under this reign of Josh Schertz, you see that there's very, very strong demand for basketball here. And you look at some of the prospects that have come out of some of the high schools here. Look at Jason Tatum, look at Caleb Love, look at Jordan Goodwin. I mean, this is a basketball market for sure.
That is Ross Chaffetz, the owner and general manager of the St. Louis Shock, a Major League pickleball team that will play at the Midtown Arena June 4th through the 7th. WNBA teams were awarded to Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia in early April. Checking basketball scores from yesterday in the NBA playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Detroit Pistons 117-113 in overtime in Detroit to take a 3-2 series lead. The Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark went into LA and won 87-78. Clark had 24 points on 9 of 17 shooting and was perfect from the free throw line to go along with 9 assists. Other winners in the WNBA, Chicago, Vegas, and Toronto. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, it was the Colorado Avalanche with a 4-3 win over Minnesota. They get the overtime win after trailing 3-0 in the first period. But that was plenty of time for them to recover, and they did. A goal in the second, 2 in the third, including one very late, and then the winner in OT to claim the series 4-1 and advance to the Western Conference Final. The National League Central Division, the best division in baseball, but all of the teams lost yesterday, including the Cardinals. The Redbirds fell to the Oakland Athletics. The final score was 6-2. And with the very latest on the club, we turn our attention to KMOX's Matt Pauley.
The Cardinals have opportunities in their 6-2 loss to the Athletics. They collect 13 hits, but go 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, stranding 10 runners. They commit an error and get a runner picked off between third and home. Manager Oliver Marmol does not feel like the team is as sharp as they've been most of the season.
We did a lot of things that cost us. This is one of the first games where I felt like we actually handed them the game rather than them beating us. We had opportunities. We created a ton of them, didn't cash in, that made some mistakes on the bases that cost us.
The 13 hits are the second most hits the Cardinals have had in a loss this year. They scored 9 runs on 14 hits in an 11-9 loss to Seattle a few weekends ago. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Meanwhile, St. Louis City SC picked up a win. They knocked off LAFC at Energizer Park. Final score was 2-1 in that one. Back-to-back wins for City. And the PGA Championship gets underway this morning at Aramanik Golf Club. That's just outside of Philadelphia. They already have some players off the tee in that one. And for the very latest, we turn to KMOX's Dan Reardon, who is watching things transpire in Philadelphia.
As play gets underway this morning in the 108th PGA Championship, world number 1 Scottie Scheffler is not the most talked about favorite. Scheffler has been number 1 for 156 weeks, third all time, is the current PGA champion, has won majors in 4 of the last 5 years, has a win in 2026, 6 top 5s and 9 starts this year, and his last 3 appearances are second at the Masters by a stroke, a playoff loser at Harbour Town, and second at Doral by a stroke. Masters champion Rory McIlroy and Players champion Cam Young are getting more early love from the odds makers. Overnight rain should challenge the early groups this morning at Aronimink in Philadelphia, but there's a favorable forecast for the weekend. At the PGA Championship, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
The Redbird Report, sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470 or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Our St. Louis Baseball Cardinals reset last season. Now they're planning for the long term. Have you thought about a long-term plan for your family? A will, a trust, powers of attorney? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano can guide you with a personalized estate plan. Sign up for our free webinar on our website, yourestateMatters.com. Learn more about estate planning, get some answers, list your questions, then schedule a consultation. You can plan for your family, your favorite charities, taxes, your long-term care, and even your pets now, before the courts do it for you later. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20 on a beautiful Thursday morning. Let's see if the roadways are looking good as well. Roger Brand joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're getting busier, and one spot's not looking so great, unfortunately, Debbie. This traffic reports a service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, and that's eastbound 44. They continue to work this injury crash east of Gray Summit. Traffic jams just about as you round the bend. So, again, pay attention if you're coming in on 44 approaching 100 Washington, because that's a 70-mile-an-hour stretch, and you get around the bend, and you're probably doing like 15 miles an hour. So the speed changes drastically. That jam's slowly building there. I think the right lane is blocked with that crash. We're building volume on northbound 55 north of Richardson up to the Merrimack. The right lane's a little busy at Butler Hill. It's bumper to bumper now for north of Bayless up through Holly Hills. The ramp to North 270 slow. We have an incident there on the ramp that maybe we have blocking again. They may have a tow truck on the scene. Eastbound 30 from Gravois Bluffs up to 141 backed up, but after that it's looking better than it did. Southbound 61 a little slow. Wentzville Parkway down to 64 or 70. Otherwise, the rest of these highways doing okay. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a nice day today with a high of 76, sunny and comfortable. But tonight, increasing clouds and a thunderstorm late into the morning, low 58, then a high of 85 tomorrow. It's going to start feeling like summer around here. A high of 80 with humidity on Saturday with a thunderstorm chance, and then Sunday just hot. High of 92 with a lot of sun for the St. Louis area. Currently, it's clear. The sun is up. It's 48 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley unloaded on FEMA and the insurance companies in a sit-down with KMOX's Michael Calhoun 1 year after the tornado.
I remember you were on the ground in the direct aftermath. What do you remember most about the people and their stories?
Well, I remember, first of all, the courage of folks and just how incredibly resilient. I mean, as I walked through those neighborhoods, people came out into the streets, down off of their porches or what was left of them to come meet me, shake my hand, give me hugs. And I remember thinking, I don't know that I'd be doing that if it were me. And I had just lost my home. I mean, I remember people had their grills set up. They'd salvage their charcoal grills and they had them set up and we're grilling for each other. Providing food because folks couldn't get into their homes, didn't have their homes, roofs were crashed in. Churches, I still remember the churches we visited, they already had distribution centers up. They were welcoming folks in, helping them get resourced, helping them get food. So I just thought it was an incredible display of the spirit and the strength of the people of Missouri, and particularly right there in St. Louis and of those neighborhoods. The other thing is I remember how dadgum slow FEMA was in getting us any help. And I have to say, this is a consistent problem that has to be fixed. We need to be able to get help when we need it. I think there's still people who ought to be getting individual assistance, that's direct assistance, who haven't gotten it from FEMA. That has got to get fixed.
Is the main issue with FEMA, you think, the speed or also the quantity of aid, the types of things that qualify? Is it the breadth or is it the timeline?
Probably both. Probably both. Timeline is for sure a problem. They are always slow. They were slow last year. They've been slow in the past when we've had flooding, when we've had other tornadoes in different parts of the state. They're always slow to get on the ground. They don't communicate well with residents. It's always confusing about who qualifies for what. I really pushed them hard last year and then spoke to the White House throughout the process. I talked to the president directly, and obviously he approved the aid that FEMA recommended, which is tremendous. But, I can still remember at one point calling over, talking to the president, he was telling me, Josh, FEMA hasn't sent me over anything yet. I mean, there's nothing in front of me for me to sign. I remember saying to Mr. President, would you sign the relief for Missouri? And he said, you bet, but I don't have it. So I called over to FEMA and I was like, what is going on? I mean, send the recommendation to the White House. And the president did it as soon as it got to his desk. And that was tremendous. But I just think that as an agency, they got to do better. I mean, they have got to do better. They got to do better by our state. And, you look at the strength and resilience of the people of our state compared with the bureaucracy and their performance. And there's really no comparison. The bureaucracy's got to do a heck of a lot better.
Cameron Hamilton is back again as the nominee to head FEMA. What do you think about him?
Well, we'll see. He'll be in front of the committee here soon. I want to see what his plans are. FEMA's got to work better. It's got to be more efficient. It's got to get on the ground quicker. They got to get the aid out there. I'll tell you one other story. This from a different part of the state, from mid-Missouri, in recent flooding a couple of years ago. FEMA actually awarded an individual farmer, in this case, awarded him and his family direct assistance, personal assistance. And then after they'd actually paid it out, took months, of course, then came back to him and said, actually, no, we changed our mind. We want the money back. I mean, can you imagine this person and his family? They waited for months. Their home was flooded out, so they didn't have anywhere to live. They wait and they wait. And I know that everybody in St. Louis can relate to that because so many folks didn't know where to apply. They applied and they didn't hear back forever. They got some runaround about the qualifications. This has just got to stop. It's got to be clearer. It's got to be faster. It's got to be better.
One of the things we've heard is that a lot of people are relying on that because they don't have insurance. But for those who do have homeowners insurance, you've been on State Farm a lot. What is the latest with the insurance companies? Can you catch people up on what the concerns are and have they been rectified?
The big concerns are is that the insurance companies don't pay out the claims when they finally need them. I mean, you have folks who pay in. I bet every viewer, every listener can relate to this. You pay your insurance over and over every month. And then when you finally need it, in a moment of crisis, they come back to you and they delay, they deny, they stall. And I've done an investigation into these guys, State Farm included, other major insurance companies. This is policy on their end. This isn't happenstance. This is what they do deliberately. They try to delay you. They try to deny you. They try to get you to drop your claims. I think it's outrageous. We've worked with multiple folks in Missouri, multiple families, multiple claimants to get them their money. Anybody listening to this, if you're having problems with your insurance company, if you've got a claim they're denying, you can't get a response, especially if it was from the tornado, but anything, please come to us. We've helped a lot of folks. We will help you. And I think at the end of the day, these insurance companies need to abide by the law. These contracts are lawful. They carry the force of law. They need to pay out their claims. And we're going to stay on them as long as it takes. If we have to pass new legislation, we will do that. We will shine the light on these people. But Missourians deserve to get what they have paid for, and the insurance companies need to get on it.
It's 6:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Oh, an ice-cold Budweiser. That always sounds good. A Budweiser is the king of beers. This Bud's for you for the last 150 years. Love that. Love Budweiser. There is no doubt about it that Budweiser has been the king of beers for a long, long time. And for 150 years, they are now celebrating with the new cans that are out, the patriotic cans, celebrating America's 250th birthday and Budweiser's 150th. The Budweiser can looks great. It says Budweiser across the top, and it says the Great American Budweiser Lager Beer. Proudly brewed in America with quality ingredients for 150 years, made of America. If you're one of those that gets the America can, that is Budweiser, it says America on it. And then the label reads the United States of America. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness by the people, for the people. This Bud's for you. 150 years. This Bud's for you. Budweiser, the king of beers.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Road trip through America's musical past as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra teams up with the sensational doo-wop project for a night of vintage soul and seamless harmonies. Experience the iconic sounds that shaped American music through the evolution of doo-wop, including favorites like Sherry and Walk Like a Man, along with doo-wopified renditions of modern hits and more. Buckle up for a feel-good celebration that brings generations together, featuring the Doo-Wop Project and your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, May 30th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It is 6:30 and we've got sunshine and 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble spot on eastbound 44, folks. There's a jam almost back to 100 Washington now, so I think you'll see the brakes on but before you get around the bend. But it's bumper to bumper, just crawling through Gray Summit. The crash, not quite midway into Pacific, but I believe the right lane's blocked there. An injury crash that occurred a little while ago. Northbound 55, Richardson up to the Merrimack's heavy. The right lane's bogged down, approaching Butler Hill up onto that North 270 ramp. We had an earlier incident on the ramp. I think they've cleared it. Bumper to bumper traffic after that from the Union Road overpass pretty much all the way up to Holly Hills. North 270, once you ramp on from 55, not bad. It's a little busy passing Doherty Ferry. No big deal, really, I think. Eastbound Highway 30 still has delays. Gravois Bluffs to 141, and it's slow up the hill from Mauer to 270. Southbound 61, approaching Wentzville Parkway onto 64. By the time you get to Prospect, you're back on track. Otherwise, these other interstates continue to cruise along pretty nicely. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be mostly sunny today with a high of 76, and we could see a thunderstorm toward dawn. That could include some hail even. So we'll start out Friday with a thunderstorm in the morning, but it should end up being pretty nice with clouds and sunshine and 85 degrees. Starts getting downright hot by Sunday. We'll be in the 90s. It's 48 degrees out there right now.
It's 6:31. A 3-year-old is dead after shooting himself with an unsupervised gun. Florissant police officers responded to the shooting Tuesday around 1:20 p.m. in the 700 block of Liberty Village. The toddler's father, 27-year-old Jordan Burns, was home at the time the toddler shot himself with a loaded handgun. Burns is charged with first-degree child endangerment.
Ferguson police are still looking for the burglar in Monday's coin theft. Surveillance footage shows a man walking out of a home on Roberta Avenue near South Florissant Road around 10 in the morning with items in his arms. The homeowner is a rare gold and silver coin collector. He says about $6,000 worth of coins were stolen. He thinks it was an inside job as the burglar knew exactly where to find the coins.
A St. Louis County judge signs off on removing the county prosecutor from the case that could push Sam Page out of office. Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith was asked to step aside, citing the appearance of conflict in the Quo Warranto referral the county council sent her over Dr. Page's alleged anesthesia moonlighting work. The case now heads to Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, who will decide whether to ask a court to strip Page of the county executive seat.
As St. Louis economist says, while current inflation rates are high, they still aren't comparable to post-COVID rates.
Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, told KMOX's Chris and Amy that the national inflation rate hit almost 4% on Tuesday. While that rate is much higher than it was before the war in Iran, Simons says it's still not close to the post-COVID inflation rates.
We had inflation at one point spike above 9%. It was the most that we had seen since the early 80s.
Simons says this is what consumers should be wary of.
If it does get to 4.5, 5 and a quarter, 5, and it stays there for a while, then we've got problems. That's the issue that we suffered from that lasted in the late 70s through the 80s. If it's like back in 21 and 2022, the economy can survive that. It can absorb that.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. At 6:34, your Money Minute next.
1 year after the devastating tornado struck our hometown.
We're in carpool waiting, and they said their cars literally lifted up and slammed down. Their windows were shattered.
KMOX looks back at the resilience.
I fell in on the bed, right where I sleep at.
And at the challenges which remain.
Does State Farm deliberately underpay claims?
Thursday night from 8 to 10, we'll bring you an encore of our emotional documentary, Resilience, immediately followed by a new special looking at progress made in the year since. Thursday night on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
It is 6:35, and it's time for us to check your money report. It's sponsored for you by Ackerman, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. Cisco is cutting thousands of jobs as it pivots to the artificial intelligence market. The largest maker of networking equipment has been overhauling its business to better serve data center customers handling AI tasks. These changes are attracting new clients, and Cisco's restructuring plan is designed to further improve its position. The company's layoffs will affect fewer than 4,000 jobs. Staying with tech, chip makers have led an unprecedented rebound in stocks since the start of April, casting off the turmoil in the markets driven by the war in the Middle East. Wall Street is looking at gains today with the S&P 500 at a record high. S&P futures are rising 16 points, Dow futures gaining 215. And exports of U.S. jet fuel overseas has surged to an all-time record. Global demand jumping from the Iran war. Refiners in Texas and Louisiana are plugging some of the supply gap for airlines in Europe and Asia. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It is now 6:36. I'll tell you what, if you are like me, have a loved one who needs a little extra help and wants to age in place, it can be really hard to find the help that you need because you're busy, you're overwhelmed. Maybe you have a friend or a relative who's helping out as well, and you're constantly making phone calls, trying to find at-home caregivers. They're in very short supply. You need to call Freedom Care. Freedom Care, get paid to care for a loved one. I know. Do I have your attention? Here's the phone number, so just write this down. 314-947-5139. 314-947-5139. More than 160,000 families served by Freedom Care already, a 97% satisfaction rate. Through Medicaid, Freedom Care lets your family choose a trusted friend or relative as the caregiver, someone who already knows you or your loved one's routines and needs. This could be help with meals, medications, bathing, mobility, all while getting paid, sometimes daily. So don't let the shortage force your loved one to do without the help they need. Call Freedom Care, getting paid to care for a loved one, 314-947-5139.
I was diagnosed with postmenopausal osteoporosis and thought, am I going to step off a curb and break my ankle? My doctor said I needed to start treatment right away. He prescribed Divinity and my bone density improved. Now I like knowing I have stronger bones.
For women with postmenopausal osteoporosis at high risk for fracture, there's more you can do to strengthen your bones. Evenity is proven to significantly reduce spine fracture risk in 12 months. Elaine is a real Evenity patient. Individual results may vary. Evenity can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a heart problem. Tell your doctor if you have had a heart attack or stroke. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it, as serious events have occurred with Evenity. Signs include rash, hives, swelling of the face or throat, which may cause difficulty in swallowing or breathing, muscle spasms or cramps, numbness or tingling. Tell your doctor about severe jawbone problems as they have been reported with Evenity. Report hip, groin, or thigh pain. Unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred with Evenity. Ask your doctor about building new bone with Evenity.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today,
The Cards.
the Athletics. Cameron Total Access 110. First pitch 205.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:40. This is Total Information AM. So let's get you updated on your ride in and the weather. Today is kind of our last day of really beautiful weather. Things are going to get a little stormy and a little hot. More details on that after we check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We still got our difficulties on eastbound 44, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're still working with this crash. Eastbound 44 east of Gray Summit, right lanes blocked. Traffic's jamming, approaching 100 Washington on eastbound 44 right now. So be prepared. At least you can see the jam before you get around the bend. Last time it wasn't quite back that far, so I think it's a little easier to avoid any other collisions, hopefully. Northbound 55 north of Richardson up through 141's backed up. There's a couple of slowdowns approaching Butler Hill up to 270, and then delays Union Road overpass up to Weber pretty solid. Then it's slow from there to Virginia as you ramp onto North 270 from 55. The ramp is slow, but after that it's just a little busy at 64, so that's not bad. Southbound 61, a couple of slow spots. Highway P all the way down to 64 or 70, but once you get to that point, they're both great running up headed through the Missouri River bridges, and there's no delays downtown headed across the Mississippi River bridges westbound for Illinois drivers either. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
6:41 and time for us to check in with AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. I don't know if I oversold it or undersold it. I said, today is our last beautiful day.
No, I think the brief synopsis was perfect, spot on. It's going to be a gem today with sunshine. Very, very comfortable. We're starting out generally in the 50s or upper 40s this morning, and we'll get to 76 today. And then things start to go kind of sideways tonight. Clouds increase. Most of the night's dry. If there's a thunderstorm, it holds off until very late. The overnight, though, 58. And that's a worry for tomorrow morning's commute. Then some sun, breezy, warmer, up to 85. So it turns out to be a nice afternoon, a little on the warmer side. We get to Saturday, and as a warm front tries to move from south to north through the area, it's going to generate a lot of clouds and some shower and thunderstorm activity to high about 80. On the other side of it, boy, is it going to be hot for Sunday. Partly sunny up to 92. Still well up into the 80s Monday, but with a growing chance for some thunderstorms as the day wears on, and it looks kind of stormy as we go into Tuesday. 47 in St. Peter's, it's 52 in Florissant, and 56 in Clear downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right. Thank you, Joe. It is now 6:42. 4 people have been killed and at least 40 wounded in Ukraine following a heavy night of airstrikes. And from Russia, we get more from the BBC's Moira Alderson.
Kiev officials said that the missile and drone attack had targeted several apartment buildings and that rescuers were still searching through rubble. It's the third day in a row Ukraine has reported deaths.
Also in the news, the relatively new Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, putting his stamp on the department. The move comes after DHS was led by Kristi Noem through turbulent and controversial times relating to ICE roundup policies and instant deportations and more. Mullen sat down for an interview with CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga.
But immigration enforcement at the World Cup is not off the table because that is the mission of ICE.
As I said, we're not there to go round up mass individuals, but we are always looking for the worst of the worst. We're going to continue to do that.
Meta Platforms rolling out a mode allowing WhatsApp users to have extra private conversations with its AI chatbot.
This is how Meta now describes the new world of having conversations and getting advice with its AI chatbot.
Privacy is more than just keeping everyone out. It's keeping it off the record.
So Meta introduced what it calls an incognito mode for WhatsApp that provides a way to have private temporary conversations. Messages will be processed in a, quote, secure environment that even Meta can't access, won't be saved by default, and will disappear when exiting a session.
No one needs to know what's keeping you up at night.
Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Meta does not allow users under 13 on its platforms. A new bill on Capitol Hill would crack down on private equity firms involved in youth sports.
The Let Kids Play Act would ban what it calls vulture practices in kids' sports, like forcing families to stay at specific hotels during tournaments, charging them hidden fees, and locking them into multi-year contracts that can't be canceled.
Wall Street and private equity have no business in kids' sports.
Washington State Congresswoman Democrat Pramila Jayapal is pushing the legislation.
No kid should miss out on playing sports because their parents cannot afford these ridiculous fees.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Florida's Attorney General issuing an investigative subpoena into the NFL's Rooney Rule.
The rule, which has been on the books for more than 2 decades, requires teams to interview minority candidates for certain position vacancies. The AG contends that policy violates Florida law. The NFL did change language on its website about the policy when Uthmeyer first raised the issue in March. At a league meeting that same month, Commissioner Roger Goodell acknowledged the current political landscape's impact on diversity initiatives, but said he did not think there was any legal problem with the NFL's policy. Jesse Mitchell, CBS News.
It is now 6:45 and time for sports.
Let's start things off with baseball, and Matt Pauley with the latest on a loss for the Cardinals in West Sacramento.
One big inning bites Cardinals starting pitcher Matthew Liberatore in the Cardinals' 6-2 loss to the A's. After not allowing a run through his first 4 innings, the A's load the bases in the 5th for Nick Kurtz, who hits a grand slam, turning a Cardinals 1-0 lead into an Athletics 4-1 lead. Manager Oliver Marmol likes Liberatore's day until the 5th inning.
He landed the curveball really well early. That was a big pitch for him. Was in the zone quite a bit with the rest of his stuff and gave himself a shot, but that inning, they piled it on pretty good.
It's the first grand slam Liberatore had given up in his career, and it ends an 11-inning personal scoreless streak against the A's. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt, everybody lost in the NL Central yesterday, including the Cubs, who have lost 4 in a row now, so the Cardinals remain 2.5 games out in the National League Central. To soccer.
St. Louis City SC pulled off a big result Wednesday night, defeating Western Conference powerhouse LAFC 2-1 at Energizer Park. City struck early in the 4th minute when Thomas Totland finished off a passing sequence from Edward Leuven and Marcel Hartl for his first goal of the season. In the 64th minute, Rafael Santos added what became the game winner before LAFC answered late in the second half. Roman Berkey came up with several big saves as City held on for its first win in club history against LAFC and its second straight victory during a demanding stretch of 5 matches in 15 days. Head coach Yoann Demay says the group is building belief in this stretch before the World Cup break.
It's easy to say like it's the reward for the work that the players have been putting in, but I really think so. They keep believing, the team is growing. It's very positive. It's a league of momentum. You get the first one, you get the belief, you get the second one, you get a bit more belief. So it's a good period for us. There is 3 more games to go, and hopefully we can ride that wave.
City looks to ride that wave, heading to DC United for another quick turnaround MLS match on Saturday. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Alex Fitzpatrick is your early leader at the PGA Championship, 2 under through 3 holes.
Donald Ross is in the pantheon of golf course architects, and his course, Aronimink Golf Club, is the site of today's 108th PGA Championship in suburban Philadelphia. The par 70, 7,400-yard layout features 180 bunkers and distinct greens. It has hosted the PGA Tour for the FedEx Playoffs in 2018, the AT&T in 2010, and the 1962 PGA Championship won by Gary Player. Wet conditions could visit this morning's opening round, but weather should be good for the weekend with windy conditions in the forecast for Sunday. World number one Scotty Scheffler is the reigning champion. Rory McIlroy is the winner of the first major of the year. And Cameron Young has been the hottest player on tour in the last couple of months. At the PGA Championship, Dan Rudin for KMOX Radio Sports.
Stanley Cup playoffs, the Colorado Avalanche win the series against the Minnesota Wild 4-1. They were down 3-0 in the first period last night at home and won the game in overtime 4-3. And in the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the Pistons 117-113 in overtime in Detroit to take a 3-2 series lead. Who's Hot, Who's Not? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. STLcompost.com. They have some great products there. I'm looking at them right now. They have the coveted Missouri Botanical Garden Raised Bed Mix, a blend of topsoil, sand, pine bark fine, and black gold compost that is specifically designed for use in raised planting beds or planting box gardens. That's available for pickup at their Valley Park, Florissant, and Belleville, Illinois locations. And you can find it online, $7 a bag, by the way, at stlcompost.com. They also have the Missouri Botanical Garden Compost, Black Gold Compost, a green, sustainable material manufactured from grass clippings, leaves, small brush, and food residuals. That's available at various locations for St. Louis Composting as well from the Missouri Botanical Garden. It's St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. STLcompost.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch May 29th. KMOX kicks off the weekend early when Tom Ackerman hosts a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th. Full event details are at KMOX.com. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
6:51, now checking in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, still no change with our 44 jam, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Artistic Decks. You're still bumper to bumper approaching 100 Washington on eastbound 44 up past Gray Summit. That injury crash in the right lanes east of there, I believe. Northbound 55, north of Richardson up through 141's heavy. The right lane's bogged down Butler Hill to 270. You're backed up Bayless to Weber and then slow up to Holly Hills after that. North 270 slows at the 55 merge on. Tesson Ferry through Gravois is a little busy. Doherty Ferry to Manchester and a brief backup up past 64. It's primarily those ramp lanes on 64 getting onto North 270 that are the delays. They have restrictions in that ramp area due to the ongoing road work, obviously. Eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis through Bryan Road is pretty busy after that. Doesn't look bad. Southbound 61 from Highway P down to 64 or 70. Take your pick after that. If you're taking 64, you're in good shape. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64, just a little busy at 159. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This Memorial Day, Artistic Decks is honoring the season with rollback pricing. Precision craftsmanship meets old school American value to help you save big. Quality you can trust. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says comfortable today, high 76. Thunderstorms overnight, low 58. And warm tomorrow with a high of 85. It's 50 right now.
The news continues on KMOX. While some of us may be a bit behind in planting our gardens, the students of the greenhouse venture spent yesterday harvesting.
Spinach, broccoli, radishes, celery, kale, bok choy. There's 10 different things that they're sampling.
Becky Finnegan is director of curriculum for the program that works with 4 different South City schools. about 300 fourth, fifth, and sixth graders.
Starting from looking at a seed packet to harvesting and sampling food is just an amazing, well-rounded curriculum. It works out perfectly.
Greenhouse Venture is a hands-on program in bioscience and urban agriculture. Their new education center is currently under construction on Shaw, across from St. Margaret of Scotland School.
Help is available for people in abusive situations at the library. As part of the North County Justice Project, St. Louis survivors' legal support will be at 2 branches of the St. Louis County Library. The effort aims to help survivors of intimate partner violence file petitions for orders of protection from their abusive partners. The service is free. Those services will be on Mondays at the Lewis and Clark branch and Tuesdays at the Natural Bridge branch.
Saturday is the 1-year anniversary of the tornado that walloped St. Louis. KMOX Garden Hotline host Michelle Reeser West will do the show from the Kingsway East neighborhood, and they're looking for volunteers.
We've got a giant dumpster coming out, and really we just need manpower to come out, and there's bricks, there's debris, there's pieces of houses everywhere. So it is kind of surprising that a year after this horrible tornado that we're still needing a lot of boots on the ground to get this work done for the residents in the community that's still very much affected.
Gardeners can bring pruners, tarps, trimmers, wheelbarrows, or just bring yourself. Register or get more information at KMOX.com/events.
Tonight, it is 8 to 10 on KMOX, 1 year after May 16th. The survivors still battling their insurance companies, and Senator Josh Hawley was on the ground in the days that followed. Tonight, he is not letting Washington off the hook.
I remember how dadgum slow FEMA was in getting us any help. And I have to say, this is a consistent problem that has to be fixed. We need to be able to get help when we need it.
You'll hear about the volunteers and neighbors who got there before the trucks did, the storefronts that still can't open their doors. We'll look back and ahead tonight at 8 on KMOX.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
George Lucas started the Star Wars franchise, and Indiana Jones, by the way, is 82 today, the director and screenwriter. Happy birthday to Rob Gronkowski, 37. Mark Zuckerberg, 42. Kate Blanchett, or does she pronounce it Blanchett now? Wasn't it? It's Kate Blanchett, and then it became Kate Blanchett. Anyway, the actress is 57.
And the birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday wishes going out to Jennifer Gavain and Carla Struckoff. Also, Tom Shively of O'Fallon, Illinois, from yesterday's Kids.
This is the best birthday ever.
Let's have a good time.
The voice of St. Louis.
Let's have a good time at Anheuser-Busch. That's coming up on May 28th. We're going to have a tremendous time, as a matter of fact, as we welcome in Matt Adams, Ozzie Smith, as well as Al Raboski. It's going to be on May 28th, Anheuser-Busch and KMOX getting together for this great event to welcome in those 3 historic figures in Cardinals history, 3 different eras, actually. Matt Adams hit a big home run off Clayton Kershaw. Ozzie Smith got the Dodgers. Tom Niedenfuer with a big home run in 85. And Al Raboski, of course, the Cardinals Hall of Famer, ambassador, had some big moments himself throughout his career. We'll tell some stories on May 28th at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch, and you are invited. Just go to BudweiserTours.com to learn more. You ever take a tour of Anheuser-Busch? What a great idea. A great idea for this month or this summer when you have family in town. That is a no-brainer. I mean, it is total entertainment. Plus, you get the day fresh Budweiser, and you can have some fun seeing where they've been brewing Budweiser for the last 150 years. And the Budweiser Clydesdales are there. It's just a great walk of St. Louis history. It's the Anheuser-Busch Brewery experience. Visit them online, BudweiserTours.com, and book your appointment. BudweiserTours.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
There's still no change, Debbie, on eastbound 44. At least the jam isn't getting any worse, but they're still working this injury crash. Eastbound 44, east of Gray Summit, the 2 right lanes are shut down, according to MoDOT. There's a jam approaching 100 Washington right now on eastbound 44. It's been pretty static for the last 20 minutes. So, like I said, at least it hasn't gotten any worse. Northbound 55, you're a little slow. Approaching 141 to the Merrimack, the right lane's Butler Hill to 270. There's a delays from Bayless up through about Loughborough, just more of a slowdown there now. North 270 slow as you ramp on from 55. Sapping through Gravois is busy. A little slowdown at Manchester. The 64 ramps to North 270 are backed up. Southbound 61, approaching Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is busy. And westbound 64 on the Illinois side slow at 159. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump and China's Xi Jinping are winding down the first half of their 2-day summit at a state banquet in Beijing.
We had extremely positive and productive conversations and meetings today.
He raised a glass to Xi and invited him to the White House on September 24th.
The American and Chinese people share much in common. We value hard work. We value courage and achievement. We love our families and we love our countries.
The two men met behind closed doors for 2 hours, looming large China's bid to reunify Taiwan. CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd.
Action-wise, they want the United States to stop giving arms to Taiwan. They certainly want the United States to move military assets out of the region that could be used to defend Taiwan in the case of an invasion. And they want the U.S. to really step back from its unofficial ties with officials in Taiwan.
The White House says both Trump and Xi agreed the Strait of Hormuz must remain open. A jury in Chicago has awarded almost $50 million to the family of a 24-year-old killed in the crash of a Boeing 737 MAX jet 7 years ago. Samia Stumo and 156 others died when the Ethiopian Airlines flight went down in Ethiopia. Eric Richen's sister Amy speaks out after his wife was sentenced to life in prison, no parole, for murdering her husband.
I want Eric's sons, my nephews, to know this. Your father mattered.
Prosecutors say Corey Richens poisoned Eric with fentanyl after taking out multiple life insurance policies while she was having an affair. She later wrote a children's book on dealing with grief. A new bill on Capitol Hill would crack down on private equity firms involved in youth sports.
The Let Kids Play Act would ban what it calls vulture practices in kids' sports, like forcing families to stay at specific hotels during tournaments, charging them hidden fees, and locking them into multi-year contracts that can't be canceled.
Wall Street and private equity have no business in kids' sports.
Washington State Congresswoman Democrat Pramila Jayapal is pushing the legislation.
No kid should miss out on playing sports because their parents cannot afford these ridiculous fees.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
For the first time ever, the FIFA World Cup final will have a halftime show. Madonna and BTS will star at New Jersey's MetLife Stadium July 19th. So will Shakira. And no sense in leaving out the most glamorous swine of all time.
This whole show is going to be about me.
Miss Piggy will take the stage too. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion
And when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Reach label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
It is 7:04, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we have sunshine and 50 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A 3-year-old is dead after shooting himself with an unsupervised gun. Florissant police say officers responded to the shooting Tuesday around 1:20 p.m. in the 700 block of Liberty Village. The toddler's father, 27-year-old Jordan Burns, was home at the time the toddler shot himself with a loaded handgun. Burns is charged with first-degree child endangerment.
One prosecutor is out, another is in when it comes to the latest St. Louis County ouster effort.
Push to remove County Executive Sam Page from office is now in the hands of Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. A judge disqualified County Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith from the case at her request. She cited a conflict of interest in prosecuting Page. The County Council voted this week to refer Dr. Page for quo warranto action after its ethics committee found he kept practicing as an anesthesiologist at SLU Hospital, work the county charter bars the executive from doing. Page says the work was volunteer and uncompensated, and committee members don't understand what they're looking at.
Struggling with understanding medical billing, where a responsible physician is reported by name but isn't paid.
Hanaway's office will decide the next move. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's now 7:05, and the St. Charles Police Department is implementing a first-of-its-kind mental health partnership for their officers.
Whenever an officer is involved in a critical incident, that is extremely stressful on that officer.
Lieutenant Daniel Gibbons with the St. Charles Police Department as they are set to unveil their partnership with the 1078 Project. He says they will provide mental health support outside the department and insulated from any investigations.
They're going to be able to come in and serve that officer personally when the department might not be able to do that because they're running these investigations to ensure that their action was done properly.
Gibbons says there was an incident last year when an officer was involved in the fatal shooting of another man, and the 1078 Project assisted in providing mental health resources. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Illinois health officials are investigating a possible hantavirus case, but it is unrelated to the cruise ship cases we've been hearing so much about. This one is a patient in Winnebago County that is near Rockford, Illinois.
Illinois health officials say the patient likely contracted the virus while cleaning a home filled with rodent droppings. Mercy St. Louis infectious disease specialist Dr. Farron Mannion has this advice.
If you are in an indoor area that's poorly ventilated and you're like sweeping mouse droppings and you're aerosolizing potentially contaminated dust, then you could potentially be at risk. So avoiding rodents and their excrements would be a key to preventing from getting this disease.
This possible Illinois case is believed to be the North American strain of hantavirus, which is not spread from person to person like the Andes strain that struck the cruise ship in the Atlantic. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, it's the largest gift in the history of Washington University, $200 million for their newly established School of Public Health. The school will be named the Andrew M. and Jane M. Bursky School of Public Health. It is the first of its kind, launched since the COVID-19 pandemic.
Coming up, we've got some storms and some heat on the way. We'll take a look at traffic and weather next. It's 7:08.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there's a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Working families are being impacted by higher electricity prices while utility profits increase. Competition lowers electricity's costs, but that's not what your utility wants. Your state legislation rejected their legislation to eliminate competition. Now your utility is trying to ignore them and ask DC for monopoly favors, putting corporate profits over protecting consumers. Hardworking taxpayers deserve better. Call your congressional leaders today. Ask them to tell FERC to say no to no-bid billion-dollar transmission projects paid for by the Electricity Transmission Competition Coalition.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 7:10. Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, pretty much our first trouble spot of the morning we had was out on Highway 44, and it's still with us. This injury crash on eastbound 44 east of Gray Summit. The right lanes are shut down. It's a solid jam. At least the jam isn't getting any worse, but it's just bumper-to-bumper crawling from 100 Washington up to that point. If you're on northbound Highway 55, there's still a little slow traffic right through 141. It's bogged down in the right lanes, Butler Hill up to 270. All lanes are busy from Bayless all the way up through Virginia. Northbound 270 is your ramp on from 55 up through Gravois. There are some slowdowns, but after that, it looks great all the way up to 64 into that Ladue construction zone. It's a little heavy, and those ramps coming off 64 are obviously jammed as well because there's restrictions there. Southbound 61, a brief slowdown south of P. Wentzville Parkway to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard's busy, but after that, you're good to go. 64 is just a little busy around the Interbelt. Eastbound 70, just a little slow around Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Really not that bad there either. And there's just a brief slowdown westbound 64, just west of 159, but after that, you're in good shape headed across the Poplar or Musial Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, mostly sunny and comfortable today. The high 76, increasing clouds tonight. There can be a thunderstorm that can produce hail toward morning, low 58. A thunderstorm early tomorrow, then some sunshine and warmer, the high 85. For Saturday, changeable skies, warm and more humid. Look for a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, the high close to 80. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny and 50 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
It's 7:11. Sports coming up at 7:15. In the news this morning, while the Iran war expected to be a big component of the summit between Chinese President Xi Jinping and President Trump, many detractors say he is at a disadvantage.
We can't afford a pattern that we've seen from this president of talking really big, but then not following through. And
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth referencing President Trump threatening imposing 50% tariffs on all Chinese products. President Trump has also threatened resuming strikes on Iran.
Well, he's already diminished our position around the world. And in fact, he's frustrated our allies. He's launched this war of choice. It has made the situation worse globally. He talks about how his end goal was to have regime change in Iran. And yeah, he got regime change, but the Ayatollah that's in power now is worse than the one that there was before.
Duckworth tells CNN,
weaken America's position on a global scale. And by the way, pushed away our allies.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
As inflation continues to rise due to the war in Iran, something else is now falling behind.
Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, told KMOX's Chris and Amy that wages are starting to lag.
Wages now, they had been going higher than inflation the last couple of years, not last month. For the first time in a while, wages now not keeping pace with inflation, and that's affecting those on the lower income side.
This comes as the national inflation rate hit 3.8% on Tuesday. But Simon says inflation is starting to affect more than just wages and fuel prices.
Fruits and vegetables now going higher because of the transportation costs. And this is across the board.
He says the current inflation rate is still almost 5% lower than it was post-COVID, but that number is consistently creeping up. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
A bill giving tax credits to downtown St. Louis businesses passes the Missouri Senate. Known as the Missouri Innovation, Public Safety, and Accountability Act, the bill would create innovation zones to spur development downtown. It passed the Senate yesterday on a vote of 25-7. The bill now heads back to the House for a final vote after passing out of that chamber in March.
When it comes to TV, where will the Blues land?
At least 6 NHL teams are in the same boat after FanDuel Sports Network shut down after the first round of the playoffs. 2 broadcast companies are moving aggressively to try to fill that gap. Cincinnati-based Scripps launched a sports division in 2022 and just landed the NBA's Detroit Pistons, who will air all of their local games on free over-the-air TV starting next season. Gray Media, the owner of St. Louis stations KMOV Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest Channel 32, already simulcasts some Blues games and is a logical local partner. Teams are also building their own networks. The Detroit Red Wings of the NHL teamed with baseball's Tigers on an in-house service, and the St. Louis Cardinals moved this year to a streaming model that is produced by Major League Baseball. The Blues have only said that they are working on new partnerships. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Stanley Cup playoffs last night. The Avalanche down 3-0 in the first period and 3-1 with 4 minutes to go in the game, tied the game. Jack Drury scored at the 16:27 mark, Nathan McKinnon at the 18:37 mark, and then the Avs won it in overtime. 4-3 was the final. They win the series. What a gut punch to the Minnesota Wild. Colorado moves on to the Western Conference Final. In the NBA, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers winning on the road at Detroit, 117-113, winning it in overtime and taking a 3-2 series lead. Let's go to baseball.
For Mike Claiborne, this is Ricky Horton. Last night, the A's beat the Cardinals 6-2 in West Sacramento to even the series at 1. The Cardinals dropped to 24-18 with the loss. Matthew Liberatore was the losing pitcher. He pitched very well, except for one very rough inning where a grand slam off the bat of Nick Kurtz, the American League Rookie of the Year from a season ago. That was the game winner, a 4-run fifth inning, and they added on late, ended up a 6-2 victory. The Cardinals ended up with 13 hits in the game, as did the A's, but the Cardinals could not get the knockout blow. RBIs for Herrera and Church, but that's all the Cardinals could get. So this afternoon, it's the rubber game of the series. Michael McGreevy, 3-2, will be up against Jacob Lopez, 3-2. Our pregame begins at 1:10. Our first pitch at 2:05. This has been Ricky Horton with your Redbird recap.
Here's that cut of the game, sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net.
As Nathan Church with a 2-strike count waits on the pitch, and he pops this one over the head of the shortstop. 1 run will score. Win will have to hold up as Nathan Church drives in the first Cardinal run of the night, and Redbirds lead now 1-0.
But the grand slam made it 4-1 A's, and they win it 6-2. Chip Carey downstairs with manager Ollie Marmol on Cardinals TV.
Ollie, for Libby, it looked like a tale of 2 games, cruising right along through 3, and then all of a sudden in the 4th inning, high pitch count and the one big swing from Kurtz.
Yeah, Kurtz took a really good swing on him. Deep in the count there, slider. Kind of down and away, but he gets a really good swing on it and made us pay for it. But yeah, he landed the curveball really well early. That was a big pitch for him. Was in the zone quite a bit with the rest of his stuff and gave himself a shot. But that inning, they piled it on pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say his breaking stuff might have been the best we've seen all year. So on a night like tonight where you're looking for positives, that's something to build on.
Yeah, you look at Seattle all the way through now. He's done a much better job of landing that pitch, and it's a big pitch for him. When you look at his overall arsenal, that's something that he's going to need in order to have success. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Offensively, double digits hits again. You gave yourselves a chance offensively. Missed opportunities, yes, but a lot of hits again.
Yeah, but we did a lot of things that cost us. This is one of the first games where I felt like we actually handed them the game rather than them beating us. We had opportunities. We created a ton of them, didn't cash in, that made some mistakes on the bases that cost us.
And positively, Alec Burleson looking a little more like himself, hit the ball hard 4 times, 3 hits.
Yeah, he was in early today and did a lot of work prior to the rest of the guys getting here. And it's good when you kind of put in the work and then not feeling good about where you're at and you're able to have a game like that.
You've said it before. I'm sure you'll say it again. Good or bad, this team's able to flush, and look forward to tomorrow. Michael McGreevy has been pitching great. He had a great game in San Diego.
No doubt. We got to learn from that one. Keep moving.
Thank you.
All the teams lost in the NL Central, so the Cardinals 2.5 out in the division, leading into today's day game at 2:05 against the A's. The PGA Championship is off. They are off the tee outside of Philadelphia at Aronimink Golf Club. Big group teeing off at 7:29 coming up here, including Xander Schauffele and Brooks Koepka, who won the PGA Championship here in St. Louis in 2018. St. Louis City SC wins 2-1 over LAFC at Energizer Park. Jen Cease has a report on that coming up in a half hour. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling.
Summer means longer days and more deals at Lowe's. This Memorial Day, shop Miracle-Gro 0.75 cubic foot garden soil, 5 bags for $10. Plus, get select 1.5-gallon red, white, and blue annuals hanging baskets, 2 for $15 to show off your favorite plants. Stop traffic with stunning landscaping and save while you do it. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
You need somebody to help your loved one with medication, bathing, mobility. It's difficult to find people right now. If you're having a hard time, you are not alone. There is a major shortage of at-home caregivers. But here's something I want you to know about, and it's called Freedom Care. Freedom Care has helped more than 160,000 families so far and has a 97% satisfaction rate. What is it? Well, through Medicaid, Freedom Care lets your family choose a trusted friend or relative as the caregiver. Maybe you already have a trusted friend or relative as the caregiver, someone who knows your loved one's routines and needs and can help with all of those things. And then there's no waiting list, no rotating strangers in and out of the house, no explaining constantly what needs to be done. And Freedom Care is 100% free to you. They handle all the paperwork, the training, the payroll, and everything. Call today to see if you or someone you love with Medicaid is qualified and ready to help. 314-947-5139. That's 314-947-5139 for Freedom Care.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Back to the roads we go. Anything better on 44, Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Yeah, unfortunately not, Tom. There's really no change. The good news is it hasn't gotten any worse, the jam, but it's still there. Eastbound 44 is still a solid jam approaching 100 Washington, and it goes all the way into this crash east of Gray Summit. If you're thinking about getting off and taking the alternate route, which would be 100, just be advised that once you cross over 44 on 100, it's jammed into Gray Summit, and then if you're sticking with old 66, it's jammed about midway between Gray Summit into the Pacific on-ramp. So the alternate's not much better, if it is at all, than sticking with the highway. So either way, you're stuck in that traffic out there, unfortunately, in Franklin County. Northbound 55, a little busy at 141. The right lanes at Butler Hill. All lanes are bogged down. Union Road overpass up through Virginia. North 270 from 55 through Gravois slow. Doherty Ferry all the way to Ladue. South 270 Olive to Ladue's busy. Southbound 61P onto 64 to the Boulevard. You've got heavier traffic. Eastbound 70 is just a little slow at TR Hughes. Westbound 64 starting to get a little busier. McCausland to Hanley. Westbound 64 on the Poplar slow, and there's just a brief slowdown westbound 64 passing 159. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Looking at the forecast, take advantage of today if you can, because it'll be mostly sunny and 76 degrees. That's our most uncomplicated day in this forecast, because we could see some thunderstorms as we head towards dawn, and those could include some hail. So we'll start Friday out with some thunderstorms, and then it should clear up, clouds and sunshine, 85. But then a couple of showers and a thunderstorm Saturday with a high of 80, up to 92 on Sunday, and then more storms on Monday. Currently 50 degrees downtown.
It's 7:22. And the news continues on KMOX. A trial of a Granite City woman accused of murdering her boyfriend is underway.
Tara Anderson faces 2 counts of first-degree murder and a pair of firearms charges after allegedly gunning down her then-boyfriend, Philip Armstrong, in 2023. Armstrong was found by Granite City Police lying in the roadway dead on the 1400 block of Madison Avenue with a gunshot wound to his chest. A witness told Granite City Police Anderson came out of her home and began yelling at Armstrong. After she returned to the home, and the single gunshot was heard ringing out from the home. Investigators found a .45 caliber shell casing on Anderson's porch. A .45 caliber handgun was found in her basement with her fingerprint on the magazine. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Help is available for people in abusive situations, and that help available at the library. As part of the North County Justice Project, St. Louis survivors' legal support will be at 2 branches of the St. Louis County Library. Their goal is to help survivors of intimate partner violence file petitions for orders of protection. The service is free, and those coming for those services can also get access to free social workers, diapers, after-school meals for kids, and notary services. The services will be on Mondays at the Lewis and Clark branch and Tuesdays at the Natural Bridge branch.
Ferguson police are still looking for the burglar in Monday's coin theft. Surveillance footage shows a man walking out of a home on Roberta Avenue near South Florissant Road around 10 a.m. with items in his arms. The homeowner is a rare gold and silver coin collector. He says approximately $6,000 worth of coins were stolen and thinks it was an inside job, as the burglar knew exactly where to find the coins.
Almost 1 year ago, the massive tornado hit. Senator Josh Hawley walked the north side blocks in the days after. Tonight on KMOX, he draws a sharp line between what he saw on the ground and what he saw coming from Washington.
You look at the strength and resilience of the people of our state compared with the bureaucracy and their performance, and there's really no comparison. The bureaucracy's got to do a heck of a lot better.
Survivors on the phone through moments of terror, the church groups and neighbors who got there first, and families a year later still without a permanent roof. A 1 year later tornado special airs tonight from 8 to 10 only on KMOX.
KMOX Garden Hotline host Michelle Reeser West says she and volunteers will be in the Kingsway East neighborhood Saturday from 9 to 11. There's still much cleanup work to be done.
Still a lot of debris that is left over, a lot of vacant lots that still have a lot of storm damage, a lot of brush now that is overgrowing those areas, but really a lot of debris still. So that's what we're going to be working on this weekend.
They have a huge dumpster they want to fill. Volunteers can register or get more information at KMOX.com/events.
The highway embankment garden of the greenhouse venture is yielding great results again this week. Students who started growing a variety of vegetables from seeds in their classrooms are now harvesting.
Even though it's on a highway embankment, when they built it, they built the raised bed so they could continue putting good soil and compost and humus in it.
Becky Finnegan is the director of curriculum. She says the students get to sample the goods, then donate the extra harvest to a food pantry. The greenhouse venture includes students from St. Margaret of Scotland, Melanphy, Lafayette Prep, and Center Cross Academy. The education center is currently under construction in the Shaw neighborhood.
This is a basketball-ready market, and I think on the men's or the women's side, pro basketball would absolutely be sustainable here.
Ross Chaffetz, owner and general manager of the St. Louis Shock, a Major League pickleball team, tells Chris and Amy not to rule out professional basketball in St. Louis.
We led the WNBA expansion bid here for St. Louis a couple years back. I'm still incredibly bullish on that. I think if there was a WNBA opportunity here, we would love to lead that. I think we're the right people. We're passionate. We're very financially capable of doing that.
WNBA expansion teams were announced last month without St. Louis on the list. Chaffetz points to players who are from the area playing professionally and the large crowds for Billikens games as to why St. Louis makes sense for a team in the future.
It is 7:27. The time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-888-8888. 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price as 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
It is 7:30 and it's 51 degrees with sunshine. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand with the very latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, traffic's still crawling out in Franklin County, unfortunately, folks. This crash, eastbound 44 east of Gray Summit, they're still working in the right lanes. It's jammed at 100 Washington. 100's jammed just after you cross over 44 into Gray Summit. And then old 66 there, the South Service Road's backed up about midway in from Gray Summit to Pacific, maybe even a little more than midway in. So that alternate route really isn't any better, I don't think, right now, unfortunately. If you're on northbound 55, heavy traffic south of Butler Hill to 270 in the right lanes, all lanes from Union Road up through Holly Hills, north 270, 55 to Gravois, north of 44 all the way to Ladou's busy, south 270, all of to Ladou's slow. Southbound 61, Highway P down on the 64 to the Boulevard, there's slow traffic. Clarkson to Timberlake, Maryville Center to Mason, and right at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley is busier. Eastbound 70 approaching Wentzville Parkway into 64 slow, and then again at TR Hughes. Westbound 64 west of 50 through 159 a little slower on the Illinois side as well. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunshine today with a high of 76 degrees. We could see some storms bringing hail at dawn and then starting Friday with some thunderstorms before things clear out. Right now it's just sunny and 51 degrees.
A 3-year-old is dead after shooting himself with an unsupervised gun. Florissant police officers responded to the shooting Tuesday around 1:20 p.m. in the 700 block of Liberty Village. The toddler's father, 27-year-old Jordan Burns, was home at the time the toddler shot himself with a loaded handgun. Burns is charged with first-degree child endangerment.
Also in the news this morning, an Osage Beach alderman was arrested in an undercover drug operation. 60-year-old John Robert Osteen was arrested after allegedly buying 2 8-balls of cocaine from an undercover officer. After his arrest, officers found more cocaine in his home, along with other drug paraphernalia, pills, and 9 firearms. Osteen is being held on $250,000 bond.
The St. Charles Police Department is set to announce a new first-of-its-kind partnership to support their officers after a critical incident.
The department will be partnering with the 1078 Project, a local nonprofit that provides care and resources to officers who have been involved in critical incidents, such as an officer-involved shooting. St. Charles Police Lieutenant Daniel Gibbons says this partnership comes after the 1078 Project assisted their officers last year.
Police department did have a critical incident
last May of 2025. And 1078 did assist some of those officers during that time.
He adds the assistance they provide extends to the families as well. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The push to remove St. Louis County Executive Sam Page from office is now in the hands of Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. A judge yesterday disqualified County Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith from the case, citing conflict of interest. The County Council voted this week to refer Page for quo warranto action after its ethics committee found he kept practicing as an anesthesiologist, work they say the county charter bars the executive from doing. Page says the work was volunteer and uncompensated. Hanaway's office will decide the next move.
It's 7:33, your Money Minute next. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills. Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It is 7:35. Let's get you updated on your money report. It's sponsored for you by Busey Bank.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Job cuts at a major employment platform. LinkedIn is cutting workers in the tech industry's latest move to reduce headcount in the artificial intelligence age. Executives at the professional social network told workers that the company must operate more profitably. The reductions at the Microsoft-owned company will impact a range of job functions, including engineering, product, and marketing. However, the full scope of the cuts are not clear. Checking on the markets, the tech rally rolls on. Stocks look set to extend yesterday's record on the momentum surrounding artificial intelligence. Traders are also watching all the developments out of President Trump's summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. And United Airlines flight attendants have ratified a new 5-year contract that includes an average pay bump of 31%. This is the first raise for United's roughly 30,000 crew members in nearly 6 years. The deal also gives the flight attendants expanded job security and restrictions on red-eye flights. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
On everything at Menards. Add privacy and style to any room with window images, blinds, and shades. We have everything you need for updating your window treatments. We carry vinyl, aluminum, and faux wood blinds, cellular shades, and more. Plus, get them trimmed to width in-store for free. View our entire selection of window treatments today on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer and find all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. So this is not the time for, I hope it works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines can impact your returns, dealing with issues like taxes, outliving your money, and long-term care. Retirement Simplified, May 19th and 21st. It's complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Road trip through America's musical past as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra teams up with the sensational doo-wop project for a night of vintage soul and seamless harmonies. Experience the iconic sounds that shaped American music through the evolution of doo-wop, including favorites like Sherry and Walk Like a Man, along with doo-wopified renditions of modern hits and more. Buckle up for a feel-good celebration that brings generations together, featuring the Doo-Wop Project and your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, May 30th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org.
Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers, is fueling St. Louis. All gas, no brakes. They're giving away $77 gas cards to St. Louis drivers. Register to win until May 17th at KaufmanTownsley.com. Kaufman Townsley, putting money back in your tank.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
That'll be like an extended pregame show today because you have the Gas House Gang at noon, Cardinal baseball with a 1:10 pregame, and then a 2:05 first pitch. So starting at noon today, baseball coverage all day long on KMOX from West Sacramento, where the Cardinals are taking on the A's. It's 7:40.
Time for us to get you updated on traffic and weather. We start with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we're still jammed in Franklin County on eastbound 44. It looks like they've cleared the crash, though. The traffic is starting to open up east of Gray Summit, so that's good news. But there's still a jam pretty close to 100 Washington on eastbound 44 right now. Got a new crash. The right through lane, eastbound 70 just east of TR Hughes, are jammed at Highway K, and emergency crews are on the way, so they may block an additional lane when they get there. Southbound 61, stop-and-go pockets from Highway P down to 64. 64 is slow to the Boulevard. It's slow from Chesterfield Parkway west to about Timberlake, and at the Interbelt, westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley's busy. South 170, a couple of slow spots coming down from Olive. South 270, 364 down to Ladue. Again, a couple of slow spots. North 270, backs up as you ramp on from 55. It's bogged down to Gravois and then Big Bend all the way to Ladue after that. Northbound 55, the right lane's Butler Hill. Pretty solid from the Union Road overpass up through Virginia. Downtown, just a little heavy spot on the Poplar Street Bridge westbound, and westbound 64 west of 50 through 159. You've got heavy stuff. Eastbound 64, 255 to 157 slow. We've got a jam. We've had it for this morning for a while on Route 203 coming down past Gateway National Golf Club to 5570. Northbound's not as bad through there. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
Another fantastic day, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. But let's talk about these thunderstorms that we're going to be seeing over the next few days.
All right, I think the thunderstorms that come through the area late tonight and tomorrow morning really won't be severe. That said, there could be some brief downpours and some gusty winds and some small hail, enough that it will make a mess of the morning commute, I think, in some places tomorrow morning. Then after that, I think a more general shower and thunderstorm activity for Saturday. It doesn't look like anything would be severe. It's hot and dry on Sunday, and then thunderstorms Monday afternoon and into Tuesday. I think that those have a much better chance of becoming severe. Ahead of it today, one more last beautiful day with sunshine, our high 76. Clouds increased tonight, though 58. Again, that thunderstorm risk late tonight and tomorrow morning. Some sun, very warm tomorrow afternoon, the high 85. Changeable skies Saturday, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. You'll feel the humidity in the atmosphere, the high 80. Heats up to 92 under partly sunny skies Sunday. Clouds, some sun on Monday, mid to upper 80s with a chance for afternoon thunderstorms. 56 in the sunshine at St. Peter's, 55 in Florissant, 59 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It is 7:42. The news continues. 4 people have been killed, at least 40 wounded in Ukraine following a night of heavy airstrikes from Russia. We get more from the BBC's Moira Alderson.
Kiev officials said that the missile and drone attack had targeted several apartment buildings and that rescuers were still searching through rubble. It's the 3rd day in a row Ukraine has reported deaths.
China's Xi Jinping has warned President Donald Trump that their two countries could clash over Taiwan if the issue is not handled properly. CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd says they want both actions and a change in language from the United States.
But rhetoric is also really important here. The U.S. has historically focused on maintaining the status quo, the one-China policy, and Xi will continue to press President Trump to signal with his words and not just his actions that the U.S. is open to reunification at some stage.
A reversal in the case of Alex Murdaugh. He was found guilty of killing his wife and son in 2021. The South Carolina Supreme Court said a court clerk interfered with the case. Here's Inside Edition's Eva Pilgrim.
Miss Hill was attracted by the siren call of celebrity.
Murdaugh's lawyers say Hill was writing a book and wanted a guilty verdict for better sales, arguing she suggested to jurors Murdaugh was not to be trusted. During a post-trial hearing, Hill denied influencing the jury.
Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin is defending the role of ICE at major public events, including this summer's FIFA World Cup matches. He's also warning that repeated shutdowns are taking a toll on the department's ability to stay ahead of threats. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga has more from her exclusive interview with the secretary.
The secretary also emphasized that ICE has other roles at major national security events like FIFA, like the Super Bowl, customs, counterterrorism, trafficking, fraud, protective security. But it is noticeable that he confirmed officers will not take off their immigration enforcement hats.
Let's start with soccer, and it was a good night for St. Louis City SC, Jen Cease.
St. Louis City SC pulled off a big result Wednesday night, defeating Western Conference powerhouse LAFC 2-1 at Energizer Park. City struck early in the 4th minute when Thomas Totland finished off a passing sequence from Edward Leuven and Marcel Hartl for his first goal of the season. In the 64th minute, Rafael Santos added what became the game winner before LAFC answered late in the second half. Roman Berkey came up with several big saves as City held on for its first win in club history against LAFC and its second straight victory during a demanding stretch of 5 matches in 15 days. Head coach Juan Demay says the group is building belief in this stretch before the World Cup break.
It's easy to say like it's the reward for the work that the players have been putting in, but I really think so. They keep believing, the team is growing. It's very positive. It's a league of momentum. You get the first one, you get the belief, you get the second one, you get a bit more belief. So it's a good period for us. There is 3 more games to go and hopefully we can ride that wave.
City looks to ride that wave, heading to DC United for another quick turnaround MLS match on Saturday. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Now to baseball, where the Cardinals dropped the second game of a 3-game set with the Athletics.
The Cardinals have opportunities in their 6-2 loss to the Athletics. They collect 13 hits, but go 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, stranding 10 runners. They commit an error and get a runner picked off between third and home. Manager Oliver Marmol does not feel like the team is as sharp as they've been most of the season.
We did a lot of things that cost us. This is one of the first games where I felt like we actually handed them the game rather than them beating us. We had opportunities. We created a ton of them, didn't cash in, and then made some mistakes on the bases that cost us.
The 13 hits are the second most hits the Cardinals have had in a loss this year. They scored 9 runs on 14 hits in an 11-9 loss to Seattle a few weekends ago. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt, the good news is no one in the NL Central won yesterday. The Cubs have lost 4 in a row. The Cardinals are 2.5 out in second place, tied with the Brewers in the National League Central. As for golf, they are underway in the PGA Championship. Here's Dan Reardon.
As play gets underway this morning in the 108th PGA Championship, world number 1 Scottie Scheffler is not the most talked about favorite. Scheffler has been number 1 for 156 weeks, third all time, is the current PGA champion, has won majors in 4 of the last 5 years, has a win in 2026, 6 top 5s and 9 starts this year, and his last 3 appearances are second at the Masters by a stroke, a playoff loser at Harbour Town, and second at Doral by a stroke. Masters champion Rory McIlroy and Players champion Cam Young are getting more early love from the odds makers. Overnight rain should challenge the early groups this morning at Aronimink in Philadelphia, but there's a favorable forecast for the weekend. At the PGA Championship, Dan Reardon for KMOX Radio Sports.
Stanley Cup playoffs, the Colorado Avalanche down 3-0 in the first period to the Minnesota Wild, came back and beat them at home 4-3 in overtime, and they win the series in 5 games. The Avs do. In the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the Pistons 117-113 in overtime in Detroit, and they take a 3-2 series lead. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbruck, where every day is the weekend. Visit Innsbruck-resort.com to learn more about your future vacation home. What a great spot. Get yourself a little lake home right there at Innsbruck. Rent one for the weekend. They have condos. They have A-frames. They have big houses, too. They are Innsbruck. Innsbruck is a great place to fish. We tell the story we will for the rest of our lives. The catfish that Audrey and I caught last summer. Audrey is the one who caught it. I helped her get it in eventually, but man, it was a monster. I mean, like half of her size, it seemed like. And we have some great memories with friends and family. Kids have grown up there, vacation weekends through the years, kicking back, bonfires, getting out on the lake, golf, hiking, so much fun at Innsbruck. It really is the best. Innsbruck-resort.com to learn more about Innsbruck Resort. I've been talking about it for years, and I hope talking about it for years and years to come, because I love talking about it. Innsbruck-resort.com. You know what else I love talking about? Golf. And it's time for our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. All right, let's look at this PGA Championship. Here's what I see. I'm actually going to lean favorites here, and you can take your pick here, what you want to do. Rory McIlroy plus 1,000. I think that's safe. I think he's playing great. And if that's right, what Dan said about a wet golf course, that favors the big hitters. Rory McIlroy is a big, big hitter. Cameron Young, hottest player on the planet right now at plus 1,200. Seems like a good play. And I really think Bryson DeChambeau, you talk about hitting bombs. I think this could be a good weekend for him. He's plus 2,300. That's the parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circasports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circa Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
St. Louis, are you ready to go Hardy?
I woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed.
The country rock hitmaker behind Truck Bed. Wait in the truck and one beer. He's bringing his No Holds Barred live show to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 5th. With special guests Cameron Whitcomb and McCoy Moore. Hardy, live, loud, and unapologetic. One night only. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:51 in time for Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, Debbie, I was hoping there was a change on 44, but there's not. They still have this crash in the right lanes, eastbound 44, east of Gray Summit. It's still jammed back to 100 Washington. This has been since before Dawn's first light that this crash happened, so they're still dealing with it. I can tell you now, though, I've been looking at the alternate route, Highway 100 into Old 66 in the Pacific. It's only heavy as you approach Pacific itself, so it's no longer backed up to the highway near Washington. So you're much better off getting off at 100 Washington and using that alternate route, the South Service Road, basically, to get through there more quickly. Northbound 55, Butler Hill to 270, still slow. Delays from the Union Road overpass up through River to Pear to Holly Hills. North 270 from 55 all the way to 64 Ladue is slow. South 270 delays at Olive. They're still working this crash. Eastbound 70 at TR Hughes, right lanes. Traffic's backed up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 61P onto 64 at Lake St. Louis Boulevard's heavy. East of Lindbergh, you've got delays through the Innerbelt. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley's heavy. South 170 slow pockets near Page. Westbound 64 both sides at 159 heavy. And eastbound 64 a jam at 255. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, it's going to be a nice day today. A high of 76, sunny and comfortable. We are going to see a chance of a thunderstorm overnight. That thunderstorm could produce hail, but not expected to be severe, says AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. Low 58 tonight, tomorrow high 85 degrees. It's creeping into the 50s right now. We got a sunny sky in downtown St. Louis. It's 54 degrees.
Ferguson police are still looking for the burglar in Monday's coin theft. Surveillance footage shows a man walking out of a home on Roberta Avenue near South Florissant Road around 10 in the morning with things in his arms. The homeowner is a rare gold and silver coin collector and says approximately $6,000 worth of coins were stolen. Thinks it was an inside job. The burglar seemed to know exactly where to find those coins.
The high-stakes summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping officially got underway today with President Trump. The talks are expected to focus on the Iran war, but there are indications Xi may use the war as leverage.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, combat war veteran and member of the Armed Services Committee, tells CNN the president is going into this meeting with a significant disadvantage.
Gas prices are up in our country by well over $1 a gallon, and we see people who are struggling to make ends meet. And so he has an economy that inflation went up by 3.8% just last month alone. And frankly, too often, Donald Trump has made a habit of cozying up to dictators and callously handing over concessions without even thinking twice about what it would mean for Americans and our allies.
Duckworth says it would be good for President Trump to follow through on his threat to impose 50% tariffs on Chinese goods because China has ignored U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil purchases. However, the senator does not think Mr. Trump will follow through. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The KMOX Garden Hotline on Saturday will be coming to you live from the Kingsway East neighborhood of North St. Louis. Host Michelle Reeser-West says they're looking for volunteers to help clean up.
Gardeners already have a lot of the tools that we need. Pruners, loppers, wheelbarrows, rakes, hard rakes, tarps. It's all things that us as gardeners typically have.
But mostly, she says, they need hands to help. So just bring yourself. There's still a significant amount of cleanup to do 1 year after the tornado. They'll have a giant dumpster they want to fill with debris and brush. You can get more information or register at kmox.com/events.
If you saw a bunch of kids on the side of 44 near Grand this week, it was just the students of the Greenhouse Venture. Director of Curriculum Becky Finnegan says it's the culmination of a year of activity for about 300 4th, 5th, and 6th graders from 4 South City schools.
So fun to see their eyes light up when the seeds sprout. They do that in the classroom. We have computerized growing chambers in the schools where we can put them after they've sprouted, and they continue growing in there till they're ready to come outside.
Where they plant in the tiered garden on the embankment. The students are harvesting a variety of vegetables and herbs, which they'll sample. Extra veggies are donated to a food pantry. The Greenhouse Venture is currently constructing its education center across Shaw from St. Margaret of Scotland.
The leader of last year's effort to lure an expansion WNBA team to St. Louis says he thinks the Chaffetz Arena would be a great venue for a team.
If you look at the history of St. Louis sports, we've had pro basketball here before. It's thrived. And I think if you show up to Chaffetz, especially under this reign of Josh Schertz, you see that there's very, very strong demand for basketball here. And you look at some of the prospects that have come out of some of the high schools here. Look at Jason Tatum, look at Caleb Love, look at Jordan Goodwin. I mean, this is a basketball market for sure.
That is Ross Chaffetz, the owner and general manager of the St. Louis Shock, a major league pickleball team that will play at the Midtown Arena June 4th through 7th. WNBA teams were awarded to Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia in early April.
It's 7:56.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Pool days call for cookouts and lots of laundry. This Memorial Day at Lowe's, save $80 on a Charbroil Performance Series 4-burner gas grill, now just $199. Plus, get up to 45% off select major appliances to keep dishes, clothes, and food fresh. Having fun in the sun is easy with us in your corner. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See associate or Lowe's.com for details.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Glover here from my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
It is 7:58. Here's Roger Brandt in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, traffic is starting to move a little bit better now, thankfully, on eastbound 44 coming through Gray Summit. It's still jammed at 100 Washington, but it looks like they may have finally cleared that crash, so the jam should dissipate pretty quickly. So better news, but there are still delays, but they aren't as bad as they were, obviously, in the alternate route 100 on Old 66 in the Pacific. That's looking pretty good as well. 364 is backed up, approaching Highway K through Goodermuth. I think folks are going that way to avoid eastbound 70 because eastbound 70 you still have that crash. Right lanes at TR Hughes. It's jammed at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 61, approaching One Smoke Parkway onto 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's busy. There's still some heavy traffic both ways coming through 141 in Maryville Center. Westbound, I think it's roadwork related, but there's an eastbound backup. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt, still heavy. South 170, primarily Olive to 64 is still slow. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, you've got delays. North 270, Tesson Ferry all the way to Ladou's busy. Northbound 55, heavy from Bayless up the river to Pear. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A state dinner caps day one of the Trump-Xi summit in Beijing.
It is my honor to extend an invitation to you and Madam Peng to visit us at the White House.
President Trump raising a glass to his Chinese counterpart following 2 hours of talks behind closed doors. Correspondent Weijia Jiang from Beijing.
The White House says both presidents agreed on the need for China to buy more U.S. agricultural products. Overnight, China approved export licenses for more than 400 American beef processing plants, according to customs data. For Xi, Taiwan is top of mind. China wants reunification. And for the U.S. to stop selling arms to the self-governing island.
Xi warned President Trump the two countries could clash over Taiwan if the issue isn't handled properly. The White House says they both agreed on Iran and opening the Strait of Hormuz. With the price of gas still high and not much left over for anything but the basics, retail sales were up just 0.5 percentage point in April. That's the biggest one-month increase, though, in more than 3 years, mostly because of those gas prices, which average $4.53 a gallon across the country today. Days after we learned about a deadly hantavirus outbreak, a French cruise ship is dealing with norovirus. Correspondent Remy Inocencio is at the foreign desk.
More than 1,700 passengers and crew were temporarily stuck aboard the cruise ship Ambition Wednesday after roughly 50 people came down with norovirus, commonly known as the stomach flu.
The ship was put under a brief quarantine after it docked in Bordeaux. It's lifted now, and passengers without symptoms have been allowed to disembark. AI is making it easier to get A's in college.
It's called grade inflation. Researchers at UC Berkeley found that since the debut of ChatGPT, professors teaching AI-exposed classes have given about 30% more A's. Harvard Business School professor Arthur Brooks.
What that does is it makes it harder to reward the people who are doing the best work and harder to distinguish between them when they graduate.
Making it harder for employers to figure out which graduates are worth hiring. Plus, AI has also made resumes and cover letters less reliable. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Powerful winds whipped up a dust storm on the Utah-Idaho border, triggering an 8-car pileup on US 91. This woman felt the effects in Salt Lake City.
The wind, oh my goodness, so loud. And I was just like, what is going on? I'm from the Midwest, so I was like, this is tornado weather.
Dow futures are up 420. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, May 14th. I'm Megan Lynch. The latest case against the St. Louis County executive moves forward. KMOX's Michael Calhoun has the latest.
A St. Louis County judge signed off on removing the county prosecutor from the case that could push Sam Page out of office. Prosecutor Melissa Price-Smith asked to step aside, citing the appearance of conflict in the Quo Warranto referral that the county council center over Dr. Page's alleged work moonlighting as an anesthesiologist. The case now heads to Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, who will be the one to decide whether to ask a court to strip Page of the county executive seat. It comes after the county council ethics committee claims it found evidence Page was paid for the hospital work when he said he wasn't, and when the charter forbade outside work. The county council voted to refer the matter to prosecutors.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries.
Page's response has been that he was not paid and that council members don't understand how to read a medical bill. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A proposal giving tax credits to downtown St. Louis businesses passes the Missouri Senate. Known as the Missouri Innovation, Public Safety, and Accountability Act, the bill would create innovation zones to spur development downtown. It passed the Senate yesterday on a vote of 25-7. It now heads back to the House for final vote after passing out of that chamber in March. The Iran war now impacting local produce costs.
Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, told KMOX's Chris and Amy that inflation levels for fruits and vegetables jumped from 1% in January to almost 4% in May. The overall inflation rate hit 3.8% on Tuesday.
That's higher than the previous month. It's trending higher. 3.8% is one thing, but the trend going higher, it wouldn't surprise me, guys, if we don't get above 4% this summer.
Simon says the jump in and of itself isn't as concerning as the steady increase. He's up, but if they slowly rise, they usually have a slow descent, too.
And even if the war ends tomorrow, you don't get these prices down right away.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
An Osage Beach alderman arrested in an undercover drug operation. 60-year-old John Robert Osteen was arrested after allegedly buying 2 8-balls of cocaine from an undercover officer. After his arrest, officers found more cocaine in his home, along with drug paraphernalia, pills, and firearms. Osteen is being held on a $250,000 bond. Later this morning, the St. Charles Police Department will announce a new partnership with the nonprofit 1078 Project to provide mental health support for officers after a critical incident. Lieutenant Daniel Gibbons says this kind of support is critical during internal affairs and criminal investigations after an officer-involved shooting.
That can be extremely stressful on the officer in and of themselves. So this partnership is going to provide rapid specialized support to the department and the officer.
Gibbons says 1078 helped assist their officers last year when one was involved in a fatal shooting. He adds a benefit to the partnership is it comes from outside the department, insulating them from the internal investigation. From the KMOX business desk, the Lewis and Clark Tower reopens today. The reopening comes after a $3 million year-long renovation that upgraded observation platforms and the visitor center. An opening ceremony held today at 10 a.m. at the tower. It's located at 435 Confluence Tower Drive in Hartford. The tower will be open Wednesdays through Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's now 8:07, still ahead on Total Information AM. We are going to continue our coverage of the May 16th tornado a year later. Michael Calhoun and Debbie Monterrey will have special reports coming up after traffic and weather. And then we're going to give you something a little bit different. Lovers of the strange and unusual, it's the Oddities and Curiosities Expo coming to St. Louis this weekend. The co-owner is going to join me at 8:24. And a little bit later on, we're going to tell you about the orchestral debut of How Mr. Silver Stole the Show. It's a book for kids, but the Metropolitan Orchestra of St. Louis has a new composition that is a narration for your kids. It's coming up this weekend. And then at the end of the hour today, Katie Paul of Reuters is going to join me. Meta is tracking the mouse movements of their employees. Employees think It's an effort to replace them with AI. So we'll find out more about that. Traffic and weather next here on Total Information AM.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit lombardohomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10 here on Total Information AM. Let's check the roads for you with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, everything's finally cleared out on eastbound 44 coming through Gray Summit Pacific. That's good news. It is a little slow now. Elm up toward Laclede Station. All that volume sort of shifted east, but no big deal really there. The trouble spot was still with us now is this crash we've been talking about. Eastbound 70 just east of TR Hughes. Only the two left lanes are open. It's a solid jam back through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 61 approaching Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, still busy. And it's heavy from Clarkson all the way into Maryville Center. We had an incident. The westbound side's backed up through Mason there because of lane restrictions. And then eastbound 64 slow, Lindbergh into Big Bend. South 170 delays at Delmar. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley's busy. South 270, 364 to Ladue is slow. North 270 Gravois to Ladue is heavy. Northbound 55 Bayless up through Holly Hills is off the pace. Eastbound 44 downtown through the Arch Grounds is a little slow, and westbound 64 just a little heavy through 159 and approaching the Poplar. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A nice day today with a good deal of sunshine, the high 76. Increasing clouds tonight. There can be a thunderstorm late, the low 58. A thunderstorm around tomorrow morning. Then breezy and very warm later tomorrow as clouds break for some sunshine, the high 85. For Saturday, warm and more humid with clouds and limited sun, along with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm as well, the high 80. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have a sunny morning, 58 degrees both in Florissant and St. Peters, sunny 57 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. And as you've heard here this week, there are families and businesses still working to rebuild their lives in the aftermath of last year's devastating spring storms. We continue our coverage of the May 16th tornado this morning. Yesterday, Debbie Monterrey introduced you to two of the many people who jumped into action in North St. Louis after that tornado hit. Today, she asked them where things stand now.
Truthfully, a year later, I would say the assessment is that we're still at day one.
That's Ahassa Jadu, who works with a number of organizations, including Freedom Community Center, Black Men Build, and Black Healers Collective.
This is a response effort that is going to need multiple levels of society to be involved. And the community since day one has been standing in the gap for what city or other systems are moving slow to do. And so there is a lot of properties to be repaired. We're also going to be seeing a lot of properties demolished, which means we're going to also be experiencing a range of emotions in regards to, let's say, watching our neighborhoods be devastated even more in different ways of like clean up before rebuilding.
What about the families whose homes were severely damaged or destroyed?
There are people who are still living in houses that for many would deem uninhabitable. And there's also been many people who have been displaced to the county areas of St. Louis. And so after natural disasters, a lot of times you might have different organizations come out and provide trailers. And in the case of St. Louis, because it was determined that there was adequate housing in the county, and so in the surrounding areas, there weren't any like trailers or anything brought here so that people could remain stable in the neighborhoods that they've been in for generations, which is a sad reality to be experiencing, because for some, they don't want to deal with the issue. I want to permanently move and begin again. And that looks like a population loss for the Black historic families in North St. Louis City.
Herdosha Bentham is with Freedom Community Center.
People who had insurance still don't have their house fixed. They had to spend money to get a lawyer to sue their insurance company that is refusing to help them. Just let that sit, because it's a narrative that somehow, everybody on the north side just didn't have insurance, and that's why they find themselves in a situation. The FEMA process make it extremely difficult being able to get resources from FEMA. People who paid into insurance are still not being taken care of. I just want that to sit with us.
In the aftermath, there's a lot of grief. There is a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of shock, and that is still to be dealt with. That's been dormant in a lot of people's bodies for a year, which is why here at Freedom Community Center and in concert with Empower Institute, we focus a lot on mental and spiritual and emotional well-being, because there are limited resources for the house or for the yard and for the property, but there's even less resources for the mind, body, and spirit. And so we want to hold space for the hearts and minds of people.
Herdosha says one of the things they do is listen to people, and something one man said has stuck with her.
He said, all my life I've been waiting to see God. And he said, May 16, I seen God. I experienced it by my neighbor looking out for me. I experienced it by the white man that came from Creve Coeur. I experienced it by, all the people that came that looked just like us, that said that we here for you. I thought that was so powerful, because we hear all the time about what's going on in St. Louis. But May 16 is evident of the amazing spirit of St. Louis. We stand together. We didn't care about the Delmar divide. The people didn't. People from the other side that got stuff faster, they started bringing things over, and they've been at town hall meetings speaking up for the people on the other side of the Delmar divide. People from the south side are still advocating and fighting for the north side to be supported by our government, for local officials to really step up and help rebuild the north side.
Both Herdosha and Ahasa want to see the Rams settlement money helping those in North City. The city has been slow to spend it there. The mayor has said they were waiting on FEMA funds first, but now there's a lawsuit by the State Police Commission wondering if they have dibs on that pot of money too.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley unloaded on FEMA and insurance companies in a sit-down with KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
I remember, first of all, the courage of folks and just how incredibly resilient. I mean, as I walked through those neighborhoods, people came out into the streets, down off of their porches or what was left of them, to come meet me, shake my hand, give me hugs. And I remember thinking, I don't know that I'd be doing that if it were me. And I had just lost my home. I mean, I remember people had their grills set up. They'd salvage their charcoal grills, and they had them set up, and we're grilling for each other, providing food, because folks couldn't get into their homes, didn't have their homes, roofs were crashed in. Churches, I still remember the churches we visited, they already had distribution centers up. They were welcoming folks in, helping them get resourced, helping them get food. So I just thought it was an incredible display of the spirit and the strength of the people of Missouri, and particularly right there in St. Louis and of those neighborhoods. The other thing is I remember how dadgum slow FEMA was in getting us any help. And I have to say, this is a consistent problem that has to be fixed. We need to be able to get help when we need it. I think there's still people who ought to be getting individual assistance, that's direct assistance, who haven't gotten it from FEMA. That has got to get fixed.
Is the main issue with FEMA, you think, the speed or also the quantity of aid, the types of things that qualify? Is it the breadth or is it the timeline?
Probably both. Timeline is for sure a problem. They are always slow. They were slow last year. They've been slow in the past when we've had flooding, when we've had other tornadoes in different parts of the state. They're always slow to get on the ground. They don't communicate well with residents. It's always confusing about who qualifies for what. I really pushed them hard last year and then spoke to the White House throughout the process. I talked to the president directly, and obviously he approved the aid that FEMA recommended, which is tremendous. But, I can still remember at one point calling over, talking to the president. He was telling me, Josh, FEMA hasn't sent me over anything yet. I mean, there's nothing in front of me for me to sign. I remember saying to him, Mr. President, would you sign the relief for Missouri? And he said, you bet, but I don't have it. So I called over to FEMA and I was like, what is going on? I mean, send the recommendation to the White House. And the president did it as soon as it got to his desk. And that was tremendous. But I just think that as an agency, they got to do better.
One of the things we've heard is that a lot of people are relying on that because they don't have insurance. But for those who do have homeowners insurance, you've been on State Farm a lot. What is the latest with the insurance companies? Can you catch people up on what the concerns are and have they been rectified?
The big concerns are is that the insurance companies don't pay out the claims when they finally need them. I mean, you have folks who pay in. I bet every viewer, every listener can relate to this. You pay your insurance over and over every month. And then when you finally need it, in a moment of crisis, they come back to you and they delay, they deny, they stall. And I've done an investigation into these guys, State Farm included, other major insurance companies. This is policy on their end. This isn't happenstance. This is what they do deliberately. They try to delay you. They try to deny you. They try to get you to drop your claims. I think it's outrageous. We've worked with multiple folks in Missouri, multiple families, multiple claimants to get them their money. Anybody listening to this, if you're having problems with your insurance company, if you've got a claim they're denying, you can't get a response, especially if it was from the tornado, but anything, please come to us. We've helped a lot of folks. We will help you. And I think at the end of the day, these insurance companies need to abide by the law. These contracts are lawful. They carry the force of law. They need to pay out their claims. And we're going to stay on them as long as it takes. If we have to pass new legislation, we will do that. We will shine the light on these people. But Missourians deserve to get what they have paid for, and the insurance companies need to get on it.
Tonight at 8 on KMOX, we'll have a look back at how the disaster unfolded. Then at 9, more inside stories with the numbers behind the recovery and a city finding its footing a year later. Our Michael Calhoun will anchor that coverage. You can listen on air on the Odyssey app or tell your smart speaker to play KMOX. Let's head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, how's it look?
Well, good news on Highway 70, Megan. Just after our last report, they cleared their crash we had at TR Hughes. Now, traffic's still backed up Lake St. Louis Boulevard into Highway K. Then it starts opening up. This traffic report, by the way, is the service of Artistic Decks. We still have a backup on 364 from K to Gudermuth. Southbound 61 Wensville Parkway into 64 to the Boulevard is still busy. There's still backed up traffic from Clarkson into that Maryville Center area. I believe they're working westbound 64 at Maryville Center. From my vantage point, it looks like maybe the right lane, but it's pretty far away for me to see. But westbound 64 is actually a more solid jam, and it's backed up at 270. Eastbound 64, back to that. You've got heavy traffic east of Lindbergh to the Interbelt, and, of course, Hampton to Hanley coming out of the city. Slow. North 270, Gravois up to Ladue, still busy. 55, Bayless up to Holly Hills is still a little slow. Downtown, westbound 70, just a bit busy past the Musical Veterans Bridge. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Looks like we're going to have a sunny day, a high 76, increasing clouds tonight with a thunderstorm possible overnight, a low of 58. Right now, sunshine 57 downtown at the Arch.
Kick off summer this Memorial Day with Artistic Decks. We're celebrating with American-style value and rolling back prices on every precision-built deck. Get the backyard you've always wanted. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of, and fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
If you are a lover of the strange, unusual, and bizarre, we have an event for you. It's the Oddities and Curiosities Expo this weekend at America Center Convention Complex in downtown St. Louis. I'm joined now on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line by a co-owner of the expo, Michelle Casalio. Michelle, thank you so much for being with me this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
When I see something that says everything at the show is legal to own, it makes me wonder what kinds of things you have there. Give us a description of this expo.
Yeah, I like to say that it's for lovers of the strange and unusual, and because it really piques your curiosity, and that's the whole point of it. So you'll find vendors from all over the country with all things weird, and that's weird like taxidermy, animal bones, skulls, original art, alternative clothing. We try to have something weird for everyone, but the whole vibe of the event is the unusual.
Do you have people that come dressed all ways to take part of the atmosphere of this?
Yeah, we're not like a Comic-Con where people really, do it up on their cosplay costumes, but we do get people that dress up, and it's really, really fun. We encourage people to dress up and come. But yeah, people take it seriously. They come in with some really good outfits.
What is the most amazing thing you've ever had there from a vendor?
Oh, that's such a hard question. I'm surrounded by really incredible pieces every single weekend all over the country. But personally, I am a huge antique collector. So it's really fun to see some of the odd old antiquities at the show, weird old quack medical devices or really old paper from the 1600s. It really is kind of what do you find to be an oddity or weird? So it could be a two-headed cow taxidermy that's real. It's really all over the map.
Where do your vendors come from?
We truly have someone, for example, every weekend we're in a different city, and we have people all over the country that are there. So coast to coast, we've got locals from St. Louis or the Missouri area, and they all just dabble in the weird. It's really been amazing to bring them all together under one roof, and then our attendees come, and that's exactly what they're looking for. So it's this really awesome, fun community that's really welcoming and a great time.
What about your sideshow performers?
Yeah, same. We bring them in from all over the country. It changes every week, but you're definitely going to be able to see people swallowing swords, walking on glass, doing all these really fun, classic sideshow stunts that you definitely don't see every day.
So, Michelle, how can people get in this weekend at America Center?
We have tickets in advance for $15, or they're at the door for $20. You can find them on our website, which is just oddities.com, or you can just walk up and pay at the door too. Kids 12 and under are free, but it is an all ages event. Families come all the time, but I always say parental discretion is advised.
All right. That is Michelle Casalio. She is co-owner of the Oddities and Curiosities Expo coming to St. Louis this weekend. Michelle, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Still ahead on Total Information AM, we're going to tell you about an Illinois hantavirus case. Fred Bottomer will have the latest on that at the bottom of the hour. And then we're going to tell you about the orchestral debut of How Mr. Silver Stole the Show. It's at the Metropolitan Orchestra of St. Louis this weekend. It's now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Let me put this in simple terms. You can't put your estate planning documents in a drawer and forget about them. That doesn't help your family when it matters most. My family has trusted the Lederman Law Firm here in St. Louis with our estate planning for over 20 years. And what sets them apart is they don't treat estate planning like a one-and-done thing. They treat it like what it really is, a living, breathing plan. They build your plan to protect your family, your assets, and your wishes. And then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it updated as your life changes, because it will. Families need change, assets change, the law changes. And because of this, many people don't realize how many plans out there are still outdated until it's too late. The Lederman Law Firm, an annual process they offer to help keep our plan up to date with changes over time, and they can do the same for you. 314-514-9100, LedermanLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
8:30, time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, folks driving in on eastbound 70, there's still a little bit of a backup. Lake St. Louis Boulevard into Bryan Road, it's slow. Through T.R. Hughes, a little busy around Mid-Rivers and Cave Springs. Just a couple of pockets unwinding from the earlier crash. 364, you still got delays from K through Gudermouth, midway into 94, really. Southbound 61 approaching Wentzville Parkway onto 64. The Boulevard is still heavy. Chesterfield Parkway West through Timberlake, then it gets better, but this road work westbound 64 at Maryville Center, right lane's closed, so it's still a solid jam back to 270. The eastbound lrun in east of Lindbergh and through the Intervale to Big Bend is still heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley still slow, both directions of 170 between the Parkway and 64 are busy. North 270, 44 to Ladue slow, 44 a little busy past Bowles. There's a slowdown at Lindbergh, and then east of Big Bend in through to almost Laclede Station, it's kind of bogged down. Northbound 55 Bayless up through Virginia is heavy as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're going to have a sunny day today, a high of 76 degrees. Increasing clouds tonight, a thunderstorm toward dawn, and that could produce some dangerous hail, an overnight low of 58 degrees. Tomorrow, thunderstorms in the morning, otherwise breezy and warm with a mix of clouds and sun, a high of 85. For Saturday, variably cloudy, warm and humid, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with a high of 80. Right now, we have sunshine, 58 degrees in Florissant and St. Peter's, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. Illinois health officials are investigating a possible hantavirus case, but it's unrelated to the cruise ship cases we've been hearing so much about. This one is in a patient in Winnebago County near Rockford. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports.
Illinois health officials say the patient likely contracted the virus while cleaning a home filled with rodent droppings. Mercy St. Louis infectious disease specialist Dr. Farron Mannion has this advice.
If you are in an indoor area that's poorly ventilated and you're like sweeping mouse droppings and you're aerosolizing potentially contaminated dust, then you could potentially be at risk. So avoiding rodents and their excrements would be a key to preventing from getting this disease.
This possible Illinois case is believed to be the North American strain of hantavirus, which is not spread from person to person like the Andes strain that struck the cruise ship in the Atlantic. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It's 8:34. Your money report is next.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Your money report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Alder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Shares of Ford surged the most in 6 years yesterday. Analysts of Morgan Stanley are bullish on the automaker's energy storage business. They estimate that Ford Energy could be worth $10 billion and expects the business to sign a deal with large commercial customers soon. Ford is investing $1.5 billion this year to get into the energy storage business. Turning to trading, President Trump's summit with Xi Jinping shifting the spotlight from the war in Iran. The Chinese leader signaling that Beijing is moving toward greater openness during his meeting with American business leaders. This is giving a lift to stock futures this morning. And artificial intelligence goes to work. Anthropic is launching Claude for Small Business. This is a tool that will help small business owners plan payroll, run a sales campaign, chase invoices, and more. Claude for Small Business works with apps entrepreneurs already use, including Intuit QuickBooks, PayPal, HubSpot, Canva, and DocuSign. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace, with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Data centers don't wait, and neither should your supply chain. From power and connectivity to racks and critical power, Graybar brings the products and the experience data centers need now. And with deep inventory and logistics expertise, we keep projects moving from first delivery to final install. With hundreds of locations and a nationwide delivery fleet, we help you bring facilities online, on time, and on budget. Yep, Graybar does that.
Save big money on outdoor storage when you shop at Menards. Suncast sheds have the storage space you need for any backyard. Whether you're protecting bikes and toys or storing yard tools, Suncast's selection of durable, low-maintenance sheds come in a variety of styles and sizes to fit your needs. Pick up an in-stock Suncast storage shed today and check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all our great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
1 year after the devastating tornado struck our hometown.
We're in carpool waiting, and they said their cars literally lifted up and slammed down. Their windows were shattered.
KMOX looks back at the resilience.
Fell in on the bed, right where I sleep at.
And at the challenges which remain.
Does State Farm deliberately underpay claims?
Thursday night from 8 to 10, we'll bring you an encore of our emotional documentary, Resilience, immediately followed by a news special looking at progress made in the year since. Thursday night on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
This is 104.1 FM, KMOX. Here's what's happening. AI is making it easier to get A's in college. Researchers at UC Berkeley found that since the debut of ChatGPT, professors teaching AI-exposed classes have given about 30% more A grades. A new bill on Capitol Hill would crack down on private equity firms involved in youth sports. The Let Kids Play Act would ban what it calls vulture practices in kids' sports, like forcing families to stay at specific hotels during tournaments and locking them into multi-year contracts that can't be canceled. And the U.S. Senate on Wednesday confirmed Kevin Warsh to lead the Federal Reserve. President Donald Trump picked the former Fed governor to replace Jerome Powell. 8:40. Let's see how things are moving on the roads on this Thursday morning. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, it's still kind of slow on eastbound 70 approaching Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road, K and through T.R. Hughes, and a little busy briefly past 370. 364, that was a crash at Gudermuth. They cleared it to the shoulder, but there's still a backup at Highway K to that point. If you're on southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway onto 64, the Boulevard still slow. Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake is heavy, and then east of Lindbergh into Big Bend is slow. Westbound 64 backed up Hampton to about Big Bend, and then it's backed up 270 to Maryville Center due to road work in the right lanes. 170 both ways between the Parkway and 64 still slow. North 270 Big Bend up through to Ladue is still heavy. Eastbound 44, a couple of slowdowns east of Lindbergh through Elm 55. Bayless up through Holly Hills, a couple of busy spots. And westbound 64 just a little slow, passing 159 on the Illinois side. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
It's going to get warmer as we head toward the weekend. We're expecting a high of 76 today with mostly sunny skies. We could have some thunderstorms overnight, a low of 58. And then tomorrow, thunderstorms in the morning, otherwise breezy, very warm with a high of 85. For Saturday, a mix of clouds and sun, humid showers and thunderstorms possible with a high of 80. And by Sunday, we could reach a high of 92. Right now, we have sunny skies, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. We recently featured award-winning children's author Kate Kleiss on the show. If you remember, one of her books is about a local cat that rose above his pedigree.
St. Louis stray cat who in 1947 slipped into a fancy St. Louis hotel a couple days before a pedigreed cat show. And the hotel hostess, on a lark, decided to enter the cat in the contest, and he walked away with 2 blue ribbons. And the story made international headlines because this is 1947. And the world was like, this is why America is such a great country. You can be a stray cat and be a winner.
This weekend, Kleisa's book, How Mr. Silver Stole the Show, will debut as an orchestral composition performed by the Metropolitan Orchestra of St. Louis. Personal connections led the author to Stefan Freund, professor of composition at the University of Missouri School of Music and a Grammy-winning cellist in the music ensemble Alarm Will Sound. Using the author's work and her sister's illustrations, Freund has created narration and a soundtrack for the story. I spoke with him last month as rehearsals were beginning.
It's about a cat show. So I just imagined all the chaos. I think a lot of people seen Best in Show. I imagine that times 10 or 20, all of these wild looking cats being pampered. I'm sure they're not getting along. So as I wrote in the program notes, the piece really tries to contrast the chaos and craziness of the cat show with the peace and serenity of the kitchen of the hotel, which is basically where the people who adopt the kitten are hanging out. So really the mood and the spirit of it is really what I took away from it. And I should also say that Kate and Sarah provided me with basically a guideline of what they would like to see happen musically with the piece. So we want this person's theme here, we want this mood here, we want an interlude here. So it made it easy for me to come up with ideas and construct the form of what was going to happen.
What's it going to be like the first time you hear the orchestra start work on this?
It's always scary when you hear a reading of a piece of yours, because of course it sounds completely different than you imagine, and you just got to keep working on it till you get it to the point that it really sounds like what you imagine. And the composer's dream is for it to sound even more wonderful than you had imagined. And with wonderful performers, you can really accomplish that. And this is in 560 Music Center, which is a beautiful room with lush reverb. So I think it's going to sound really beautiful in there.
Now, as a musician yourself, when you get a piece that does have some whimsy, like it sounds like this will have, how much fun is that as a performer?
Yeah, I have a colleague who's oftentimes talking about how music today lacks humor and fun and surprises and these sort of things. So there's definitely a lot of humor in this piece. It comes from the book. I didn't do all that myself. There's a lot of fun and humor in the story, but it's great to be able to bring that out musically. I think it really emphasizes some of the aspects of it. And then in terms of surprises, there might not be so many surprises in this piece, but as I mentioned, there is a lot of contrast. There are a lot of different styles of music. There are a lot of different feelings, from being hilarious to being very heartfelt to being very chaotic and wild. So there's some big moments in the piece, and also some very intimate moments as well.
Obviously, being at Mizzou, you're tuned into young people and you want to keep that pipeline going. What's it mean when you can draw a kid into a musical performance by a story like this?
It's so important that we continue to rejuvenate the arts with young talent, and it's out there. We just had our Create Original Music Project Festival here at Mizzou. We had over 30 young composers, K through 12, come and perform their music or have it performed by our musicians, and just really blown away by, there was an 8-year-old pianist who just dominated the piano. It was just an amazing performance, and a middle school rock star who performed. We had jazz, classical, of course. And I hope that we can provide opportunities for these young people to grow as musicians, as composers, and also inspire them. And that's a lot of the work that I've done through the Civic Orchestra, is provide opportunities for community musicians to play in this orchestra. And we've done some real heavy-hitting repertoire. And if you give people the opportunity, they will rise to the occasion.
That is composer Stefan Freund. The Metropolitan Orchestra of St. Louis performance of How Mr. Silver Stole the Show is this Sunday afternoon at 560 Music Center. Coming up next on Total Information AM, Meta is tracking how its employees use the computer mouse. And those employees are rebelling. We're going to tell you more about it next.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Gas prices are brutal, but Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers, has your back. They're giving away $77 gas gift cards, fueling St. Louis all gas, no brakes. Enter until May 17th at kaufmantownsley.com. Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis strong.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch May 29th. KMOX kicks off the weekend early when Tom Ackerman hosts a Redbird Roundtable featuring Aussie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th. Full event details are at KMOX.com. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Meta employees are protesting new mouse tracking technology put in place by the company. It comes at a time when that company plans significant human layoffs as it starts to employ more artificial intelligence. I asked Katie Paul, tech reporter for Reuters News, who broke the story about the mouse tracking software that has Meta employees so upset.
So Meta has recently rolled out some new technology installed on employees' devices that is tracking their mouse movements and clicks and various other interactions that they have with their computers. And the idea is to train up the AI models so that they can perform functions like that in interacting with computers. So it basically wouldn't just be a chatbot, it would be more of an agent that could take actions on behalf of the person prompting the AI model. So if you want the agent to go and, not just give you a response to a question, but actually to say, go create a document or go click on something, it needs to learn how to do that. The problem with it is that it's a pretty invasive way of collecting that information. Employees were not given the option to install it. It was not done as, it's a program that they could opt into if they wanted to. It's just tracking technology that was rolled out pretty much company-wide, with a few exceptions, and people are concerned about accessing their personal documents like W-2s and whatnot. They're concerned about, possibly training up what might be a kind of a replacement for functions that they used to perform. And it's happening in the context of some pretty significant layoffs that everyone is bracing for. And so that's all kind of coming together to create a lot of tensions around this program.
What is Meta saying about this?
So they say that the program or the tool is necessary to do the kind of AI training that they want, and that they have taken some privacy precautions so that certain information won't get collected, and that these are work devices. So at the end of the day, this is their prerogative as a company to track what happens on those devices.
Does it look like for employees that they are working to actively organize at this point because of this?
It's a really good question. I think it's probably early days on that. It's something that I'm tracking really closely. and trying to talk to people about. There is an effort afoot in the UK where this tool is not being rolled out, but where there are concerns that people's data could get swept up in the mix if they're interacting with U.S. colleagues. And so there's a movement afoot there to try to unionize. And then in the U.S., it's basically more in the realm of kind of labor organizing activity in response. So people have distributed flyers in offices, in Meta offices around the U.S. That took place yesterday, and the flyers have a QR code on them and point people to a website with a petition that they could sign, kind of protesting the installation of this tool without people's consent and flagging the privacy concerns around it. So people are talking. They're talking openly about their rights to discuss workplace issues, and that's to my mind, as somebody who watches the company and watches the tech sector, it's kind of an interesting development because that's not something that you've traditionally seen at all in what's been seen as a pretty fun place to work for a very long time.
Yeah, that was going to be my question for you. With the reporting on this, especially with the layoffs that are expected, it just seems like there's really a lack of trust right now among Meta employees for this company.
That feels right to me. Obviously everybody has different, a different read. And so there are many thousands of employees and they're all going to have a different view of things. But it does feel like there's something in the air, which is why, why I decided to write a story on the subject. This is an action that we haven't really seen before. And so I'll be, very interested to see where it leads.
Well, and I can only imagine that there might be other tech companies where not only in the employees, but, the leaders of those companies as well might be watching what happens here with Meta.
I think that's right. It's just a really interesting moment in terms of dynamics between labor and capital in Silicon Valley and maybe beyond, as companies introduce these AI tools and functions that may eliminate jobs, may be used as a pretext for eliminating jobs, just may change workflows overall. That requires an adjustment on everybody's part, and so if people feel threatened by it in any way, whether it's privacy concerns or concerns about their jobs, there's going to be some push and pull around that, and I think that's just a very is a very interesting space to watch.
That's Reuters reporter Katie Paul joining me on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Coming up tomorrow on Total Information AM, we're going to continue our special reports on the May 16th tornado. Sean Malone visits a church that experienced tragedy and heartbreak that day. I'll have our weekly roundup of the top stories of the week in case you missed it. And be sure to tune in tonight. Michael Calhoun will have a special starting at 8 o'clock on the tornado. And did you know that you don't have to be next to the radio to hear us? You can take us anywhere with the Odyssey app, AUDACY, or you can tell your smart speaker to play KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Stay hydrated, stay healthy. The National Academies of Science, Engineering, and